Happy Tuesday, folks. Welcome back here to #AskGSM for Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well. We seem to be back on schedule here after a last couple of weeks of a little bit late starts here to the show. Definitely last week. I think the week before that as well. I'm very much caught up, not entirely caught up. I still have a couple reviews to kind of catch up on from the weekend. I was at Bound for Glory with Mr. Marceau. We had a great time. We're going to be talking a lot about Bound for Glory and Crown Jewel and the shakeup that happened at the end of Raw today here as well, but largely on WrestleRant Radio on Thursday with myself and Mr. Marceau. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be reviewing both Bound for Glory and Crown Jewel, the ending of Raw on Monday, all the latest round of releases from WWE and the departing superstars, and so much more. So I know you're here today. Thank you for joining us, but we're also going to be back on Thursday with Mr. Marceau on WrestleRant Radio. Time TBD, but it's usually sometime in the morning, Thursday afternoon here on the East Coast time in the U.S. So that is something to look forward to. But before we get to the chat, a couple housekeeping things before we get going here, including shout-outs to the channel members. That includes Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, DJ Swerve1, at Swerve1, W-O-N on IG, who I was discussing the ending of Raw with after it happened yesterday. And thankfully, before I go forward here, that ending actually was not spoiled for me, shockingly. I did not watch Raw live at 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday morning on Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, what have you, or Canada, or Thanksgiving for Canadians. So happy belated Thanksgiving to those that celebrate. But nonetheless, I did not watch the show live. I somehow managed to avoid spoilers until I watched that around 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Which actually made the moment more shocking and more impactful for me personally, because I didn't have it spoiled for me, which was great. But anyway, we'll get into that a little bit later on with more on that. Daniel Malcolm at I'm Quarter on X, Mr. Marceau himself at RJ_Marceau on X as well. John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland, right here on YouTube. Check out his content. He does great work, as does Richie, Blue Planet Wrestling, right here on YouTube. And Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social. Follow him on over there on Blue Sky. Shoutouts, as always, to the channel members. Thank you. I appreciate the support. If you want to support the channel and what we do here at WrestleRant, you can do so by signing up for a channel membership. $5 a month gets you videos early and ad-free, depending on the video and the day. You also get top billing on shows like #AskGSM and WrestleRant Radio. You get shoutouts at the beginning and end of every single live stream that we do here on the channel, and so much more. So more information on that down below in the description box. If you want to send in a question to the show, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the #AskGSM. You can also find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video, after it's done being live, of course, and I'll include it in next week's edition. But if you are joining us live, I'll include your question here on the show today. And last but not least, if you want to simply support the show just by liking this video, that would be greatly appreciated. And by subscribing, if you haven't already, hit that notification bell to be notified every single time we go live here on the channel, typically Tuesdays and Thursdays around noon, as well as every time we upload new content, including #GSM for GM, the WWE 2K25 gameplay videos I do every single Wednesday, WrestleRant Radio on Thursdays, WrestleRant Ranks every single Mondays. That includes the latest episode from Monday of this past week, which was ranking every Sasha Banks WWE and NXT PLE match in light of her breaking the record of Jade Cargill as the longest reigning AEW title holder, I think, of all time. Specifically the AEW TBS Championship, but I think the longest reigning champion AEW has ever had, period. So in light of that, I ranked and did a power ranking of every Sasha Banks WWE NXT PLE match, WWE/NXT, not just NXT. That went up yesterday for those interested. So anyway, we'll get going here with these scheduled questions in a little bit, but I do see a bunch of people here in the chat. Thank you to those that are joining us live. Always great to see you fine folks. Shout out to Fernando, who I see joining us live, saying Buenos Dias WrestleRant, also asking, did I enjoy Bound for Glory? I did. I think Mr. Marceau did as well. I'll get his general thoughts when we discuss it on Thursday, but thought it was a good show. Mixed bag as far as the booking decisions, the booking of the ending of the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Battle Royal and the fucking X Division title match, which was otherwise outstanding, was garbage. The booking decisions for the finishes of those two matches was terrible. I liked the main event. Honestly, the Hardys and Dudleys did not do much for me personally. It wasn't really a match I was overly excited for to begin with. And then I saw what they did. I did not really like the ending. I wasn't really a big fan personally. Kind of came off as a bit too melodramatic for me. Um, but otherwise, I thought the show was good. I enjoyed it. It was actually my first ever, not only my first ever Bound for Glory, it was actually my first ever TNA pay-per-view, period. And I've been going to wrestling shows now for 17 years since I started watching wrestling in 2008. I've been to TNA shows. I've been to 3 other TNA tapings. They just don't come to the Northeast all that much. I went to 2 TNA tapings in the Manhattan Center Ballroom, whatever, the Hammerstein Ballroom, specifically the Manhattan Center, back in 2014, 2015, when they came up here for a string of shows, including their Pop TV live debut in early 2015. That was cool. And I did not go to another TNA show until Alexis and I went to their 1000th edition of Impact back in 2023, which was a great time. So it was cool to be at Bound for Glory. They packed the house. It was a fun show. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I made the trip. Fernando also saying, I think the Vision turning on Seth was rushed. There was a lot of meat still on the bone. Well, we'll get to that a little bit later on. Johnny said, bonjour. Johnny, what's going on, brother? Fernando asking, what's your favorite faction betrayal? That's a good question. I was not watching while Evolution was doing their thing. I feel like that has to be up there, though. The Evolution betrayal, I mean, it didn't really do a whole lot for Orton in the interim. It actually kind of buried him 6 feet under when they turned him babyface, and Triple H quickly won the World Heavyweight Championship from him, and Orton did not get that belt back from Triple H. It would be years in storyline until he got his revenge on Triple H. And their matches at that point really weren't all that great. The Evolution betrayal is up there. The Shield betrayal might be my top faction betrayal because it was so shocking. The Evolution one, I feel like was foreshadowed ahead of time with Triple H being jealous over Orton kind of getting that main event push. I feel like they had been, I wasn't watching at that point, but I feel like they were already planting the seeds going into that. The Shield one, there were no seeds planted at all. They literally had just beaten Evolution in the main event of the Payback pay-per-view the night before. And the worst part about it, the worst/best part about the Shield betrayal, it happened on my birthday. So I did not watch the show live. I was not spoiled by what happened. But I watched it when I got home from dinner that night with my family, and I was fucking heartbroken because I loved the Shield. I was legitimately pissed at Seth Rollins, and it's very hard to do that. I mean, it's not like I was 10 years old. I was like turning 19. But I was like legitimately pissed that Rollins would have done that. And not like at WWE for doing it. I still wasn't really sold on it, and I'm still not sold on it 11 years later that they did it when they did. But, and I've talked about that here on the show before, but like the way that it was executed was just so shocking. It's hard to not make that my number one. There might be other ones, but I feel like the Shield betrayal is my number one because it was just so shocking. And the way they did it was, it really did make 3 new stars. I mean, Ambrose took a little bit longer, but he went on to win the World Championship in 2016, and now is obviously a headliner for AEW and has been since the start. But they made a new name in Rollins and Roman Reigns that night, and they have gotten over a decade worth of storytelling out of that one fucking moment. The Evolution one, I mean, they kind of went back to it during the Triple H Orton stuff in 2009, but not really, though. I mean, they really didn't rely on the Evolution story when they rekindled their rivalry. I feel like, and at least in my opinion, when they feuded in 2009 and 2010 and 2008, or rather 2007, 2008, 2009, I feel like they didn't really rely on the Evolution stuff. I feel like it was more based on what was going on in that moment. The Shield betrayal they have brought up no less than 24 times in the past decade plus, probably way more than that since it happened. So I would probably go for that one. Johnny believes that John Cena's final opponent, based on the headline for this video, should be Dirty Dom. That way he can wear a t-shirt that says, I retire John Cena. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but Dirty Dom, there's a very good chance that he might be one of Cena's upcoming opponents for a Survivor Series based on the report from Meltzer last week. What was the best homage match, Johnny says? Best homage match? Like what we got with Cena and Styles, which was great, by the way, at Crown Jewel. I really enjoyed that. I mean, there's not many matches like that. I mean, WWE probably now more than ever is so fucking high on nostalgia that we don't really see that sort of stuff often. Like, we don't really see homage matches. They kind of just allow the matches to either be a retread of what we've seen before. Like, I have never seen what we got from Cena Styles on Saturday. I don't think I've ever seen that beyond what we got from Cena and Logan Paul a little bit in their Magic Clash in Paris, and that was only a month ago. Beyond that, I can't remember too many matches where the two people involved were hitting finishers of other people that they had previously feuded with. I like the callbacks. I like the Easter eggs. You can't do that every single time. I don't really want Cena doing that in his final match. I feel like that would be just fucking lame. Like, is Gunther going to go out there and hit an Ilya Dragunov headbutt like as a nod to his former rivals? No, I don't think so. But I really enjoyed Cena's style, so my answer I feel like would be that one. Johnny also said, Peacemaker Season 2 was like last year's, or rather AEW Revolution this year. Amazing until the last part. I like that comparison. I would agree. I did not think the Peacemaker season finale was bad. It did feel a bit underwhelming based on how they hyped it up. They promised a lot of big cameos. They did give us Lex Luthor in season or episode 6 of 8 of Peacemaker. I don't know. It just kind of felt indecisive. We don't even know if it's coming back for a third season. James Gunn has said this is it. Like, they're not making a third season. It was supposed to set up Man of Tomorrow, the next Superman film coming out in 2 years. I'm sure Peacemaker might play a role in that, but like for the ending of a show, not even necessarily setting up what's coming up next. I just thought it was indecisive and disappointing. So I don't know if it was the weakest episode of the season, and honestly might have been. I had seen the rating for it on IMDb, and it got like a 6.9, which was the lowest rating, which is honestly saying something to say that that's a testament to how great the other episodes were. It was an overall amazing season. I didn't really like how it ended. It was a nice question mark, but it felt like a lot of stuff wasn't really resolved, and they still need to kind of go back to. And they might in the third season, but as of now, we don't know if it's coming back for a third season, and that's kind of what's annoying to me. So I thought overall the show was great, though, like you said, up until that last part. Fernando said, what's your favorite match at Bound for Glory? And what was your least favorite match at Bound for Glory? For this year's show, I mean, best match was easily Leon Slater and Javon Evans. That was an amazing match up until that god-awful finish. You talk about something that was great up until the end. I mean, the Peacemaker and, the Revolution main event sucked. I'm sorry. That Revolution main event this year with Moxley and Copeland was fucking terrible. Not nearly, like, that was way worse than the Peacemaker season finale, in my opinion, which was good but not great. That Revolution main event sucked. Same thing with Leon Slater and Javon Evans, but it wasn't because they ended the match on, like, a interference sort of thing. They ended it on a fucking time limit draw, and then they give you, they fucking tease you with 5 more minutes or whatever, and then they have darks they interfere anyway, which was fucking garbage. Fucking garbage. But I would still say the best match was Javon Evans and Leon Slater. Least favorite match? I mean, Tessa Blanchard, Gia Miller wasn't bad. No one really gave a shit. I mean, honestly, it would probably be the Inspiration and the Elegance brand on the pre-show. Like, no one really cared. It was given 5 minutes, whatever. Perfectly fine for what it was. It might have been Blanchard and Miller because the match was okay. Kind of felt a bit abrupt as far as the ending was concerned. And no one really cared about that match. It was not as good as Blanchard's previous matches on pay-per-view with Indy Hartwell and Masha Slamovich earlier this year. So, yeah, for my least favorite match, it might be that one. I didn't love the Hardys and Dudleys. I didn't think it was terrible. But I probably enjoyed that more than the Blanchard and Miller match. The Battle Royal was also a bit of a mess, but that's typically how that sort of stuff goes. Yeah, thinking back on it, probably Tessa Blanchard and Gia Miller, if not Inspiration versus Elegance brand on the pre-show. Fernando says, as far as the Peacemaker stuff goes, I think Rick Flag went from 10 to 100 too quickly. He also said, what do you think of Bayley's new gimmick so far? I think it's been good. It's not like great. It's still kind of brooding. Like, it's still kind of simmering. They're still taking their time with it because she's doing this whole split personality thing where she's friends with Lyra and then they're not friends. We'll kind of see. I just feel like we're waiting for the other shoe to drop with Bayley betraying Lyra. And then at that point, is she going to be a full-on heel? Will she still be a babyface and a heel? Will she still be doing the split personality thing? We just don't know yet. But it's something different. It's far more interesting than what she was doing before. And I like Bayley as a babyface, but they really weren't doing a whole lot with her booking-wise and character-wise. This already is more interesting than what we were getting before. So, and in my book, it's an improvement. Still working on it. It's still a work in progress, but I've been enjoying it so far for the most part. Rick Flag had the best heel turn in DC history. Was he ever really a babyface, though? Rick Flag Sr., that is. I mean, was he ever really a babyface? I feel like he was a heel from the first time we saw him in the DCU. Johnny's second comment here, he said, does Stephanie Vaquer have the best debut year for a women's wrestler in WWE? North American champion, NXT champion, women's world champion, and now Crown Jewel champion. Yeah, I mean, the only other person that would come close is Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey had a great first year. She had that amazing match at WrestleMania. I mean, how many women can say they had their first match at WrestleMania? So Ronda Rousey comes to mind. She also won her first championship. I mean, Stephanie's like her debut, like you're talking calendar year. She technically did, like, what are we talking about here? I know what she said on Raw this week, but technically she signed with the company in July of 2024. And Michael Cole had mentioned, oh, an amazing 15 months for Stephanie. I don't really go off of when they're signed. Like Ronda Rousey was signed in January. And I don't go from January 2018 to January 2019. I go from Mania to Mania because that was her first year in the company. She had her first match at WrestleMania. I mean, I guess technically she debuted at the Rumble. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. But for Stephanie, she debuted on television in NXT in October of last year. So if we're going from October to October and we're including her NXT stint, then yes, honestly, it might be one of the best debuts. It is one of the best debuts. If it's the best, I mean, Ronda Rousey fucking headlined WrestleMania. I mean, she had an amazing debut at WrestleMania 34. She won the Raw Women's Championship within a matter of months. She held that championship and was very dominant. I still think Ronda Rousey has her beat because she was prominently featured on pay-per-view. She headlined pay-per-views. I mean, Stephanie's been putting in better work, but even Ronda Rousey's first year, she was having a lot of great matches. Some stinkers, sure, but also some great matches. Her second run was a different story. I'm still going to go with Ronda Rousey, but Stephanie might be a very close second. Beyond Stephanie, I'm not sure who else would come close to having a better debut year than Stephanie. Again, you're including her NXT run, so if we're talking main roster run, then it might be Charlotte Flair. I mean, Charlotte Flair debuted on the main roster officially in July of 2015. She won the Divas Championship 2 months later, ending Nikki Bella's record-setting reign. She had that great match at Mania with Sasha and Becky, became the first WWE Women's Champion. She was champion for the better part of that first year that she was on the main roster, so Charlotte would also have to be up there if we're including just the main roster and not NXT. So there's a lot of, kind of semantics there, I guess, that you kind of need to break down. But anyway, Fernando said, Indy not winning the Knockouts title, and it still is being around, and the fact that it's still around in NXT talent was a trash decision. I don't agree with it necessarily. I think Indy should have won the championship, and they should have put their belt back on TNA talent. The only defense that I have for it is that they have had such a shakeup in the Knockouts division in the past several months, through some faults of their own and through some not faults of their own. So, like, for example, if Masha Slamovich was still champion from Bound for Glory through Bound for Glory, like for a full-on year, then I would say it was dumb. If she had beaten Indy, that would have been stupid. But that's not what happened. She lost it in July to JC Jane, which was fucking dumb because they had JC Jane immediately lose it to Ash by Elegance, who then had to retire. Now, that's not the company's fault. She had an injury. She can't compete anymore. She had to retire, relinquish the championship. But then why even bother putting it on JC Jane? Whether she retired or not, they should not have put it on JC. Honestly, they really should have had Masha Slamovich win the NXT Women's Championship. Granted, now knowing what we do about Masha and the fact that she was canceled and whatever, and we haven't seen her since in the past few weeks, probably for the best. But from a booking standpoint, she would have been a better fit as NXT Women's Champion than JC Jane as the NXT Champion and the TNA Knockouts Champion. But anyway, they had it on Masha. It went from Masha to JC to Ash, relinquished, and then Kalani Jordan, who only literally won it 2 weeks before Bound for Glory. So I could see why they kind of kept it on her. They might want to keep Indy in chase mode, have Indy win it maybe at Genesis in January. Rebellion might be too far. I would not keep the belt on Kalani for 6 months. That's really not necessary. If they want to keep it on her until January, fine. I was not happy with the finish. I was really pulling for Indy. I wanted to see her win the championship in person. It did not happen. But hopefully she wins it at some point soon. Fernando said, have you seen those funny AI videos of Tupac, Biggie, and MLK cutting wrestling promos as heels? No, I have not seen that. I have no desire to see. I mean, I have seen them and I haven't seen them. I've seen them on my timeline. I have not watched them. I would take the word funny out. I think it's kind of dumb, to be honest with you. I think the whole AI thing is fucking garbage. I think 95% of what AI has done in the past year or two has been terrible. And I think to just continue sharing that stuff, let alone creating it, is part of the problem. Because a lot of them are just fucking stupid. First of all, it's not really funny. And second of all, it's just dumb. Like, it's just dumb. And if you allow people to get away with it now, the more realistic it becomes, it's going to become a bigger problem. So let's not contribute to that problem by adding to it by making these dumb fucking videos. Just my opinion. Zach said, happy National Dessert Day. Zach always pulling up with those happy national whatever days, but yeah, it is National Dessert Day. That's good to know. John Ritland is here. What's going on, brother? I know you dropped this comment a little while ago before as we got going here. But John, I mentioned his channel earlier. He does great work. Check out his content. He said, let's see here, booping in for a little bit while at work. It seems like TNA didn't exactly please their fan base like they should have at BFG. Yeah, I mean, they did and they didn't. I thought the Mike Santana title win was great. I mean, it kind of had to happen after he lost the fucking Slammiversary. That was really stupid. But the Dudleys Team 3D Hardys match, a lot of people seem to like that. I personally was not really a fan of the match. I thought the way the finish was executed was just stupid. Like, I know what Bubba was going for, now having Cena on TV. Like, being there in person and just seeing Bubba stand there while the Hardys take him out was just stupid. It looked fucking dumb as hell. And even honestly understanding the context of why they did that, I still don't agree with it. It came off as anticlimactic. He was trying to act like Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24. He's not a good actor. Bubba is way past his prime. It's just, I have no desire. Like, I just don't care. But overall, I thought, people left happy because that main event was good. They had the right outcome. The match between Javon Evans and Leon Slater was great. The finish was awful. So like I said, it was a mixed bag of a show, booking-wise. In-ring-wise, it was good. Only the Evans and Slater match really stood out in-ring-wise. The other matches was very good at best. Even most of them were just good. There weren't a lot of great matches on the show. I've seen way better Bound for Glory shows, but it was good. Alexis also joining us here saying, hey. John also mentioned, as for the upcoming Wrestle Dream, I know it won't be, but I sure hope the I Quit match is the end of the Death Riders. But I think they'll do dueling blood and guts for the men and women. Yeah, I think, in Grunt, what's going on, brother? Thanks for joining. You said Wrestle Dream prediction on Thursday as well. Yes, I will be giving my Wrestle Dream predictions. I'll probably get RJ's predictions, even though he doesn't really watch the product. But you do that every time. I always ask him his AEW predictions, and honestly, sometimes he ends up getting them right, even though he doesn't watch the show. But I think I got all my Crown Jewel predictions right. I think I got every single one right. Anyway, yeah, for the Death Riders and that being the end of them, I don't think that happens. I mean, they just added Daniel Garcia. I would be very shocked if they added Daniel Garcia and brought back Pac if they weren't continuing the Death Riders beyond Wrestle Dream. I agree. I feel like it should be the end. I don't give a fuck about the group. They are better now than they were a couple of months ago during Jon Moxley's reign of terror as the AEW World Champion. But beyond that, I don't really care about the group. Darby really should beat Moxley on Saturday. That should be the end of their storyline. I mean, that's been going on since July at this point, when Darby returned and attempted to cost Moxley the win, which he did play a factor. He did factor into that finish when him and Danielson attacked the Death Riders. But, yeah, I would move on beyond that, though. I would have Darby win and then move on. They're in Washington again, I think so. They're in Darby's home state. Why the fuck would he not win? Especially after already losing to Moxley at All Out a few weeks ago. John also said, if the rumors of Seth being hurt are true, I guess the ending of Raw makes more sense. But if he is hurt for real, then it highlights that a lot of people on that main roster are aging out. Rollins specifically, I mean, aging out, I mean, they're early 40s. They do need some real young blood in the main event scene. I love the fact that we're getting people like LA Knight in the main event scene. Like Jey Uso is relatively a fresh face in the main event scene. It's not like he's been in the main event scene for the last 10 years like the way that Rollins has been or Roman has been. Cena's obviously fucking old, but, for a wrestler, but he's retiring soon. AJ's retiring soon. I mean, he's older as well, but he's retiring soon. I'm glad, the difference is that for a while they weren't pushing certain people because they were too old. And now they're only pushing older people. I feel like there's a happy medium there where you can push people like LA Knight, Damian Priest, some older people, quote unquote. I mean, Cody Rhodes, I don't look at him as being fucking old. He's 40, but he's also new to the main event scene in the last few years. It's not like he's been there for the past 10 years like Rollins has been. He could have been if they pushed him as a main eventer from the get-go. But I feel like everything worked out the way they did it on purpose, and it worked out perfectly the way that it did for Cody Rhodes. Had they pushed him originally back in 2013, 2014, 2015, the way I hoped they would. But at the same time, I mean, Rollins specifically, I was thinking about this. That guy is fucking injury prone. I mean, I love Rollins. He's a great wrestler. I think the guy is awesome. But how many injuries has this guy had in the past 10 years? I mean, ever really since that first big injury he suffered when he was WWE champion almost exactly a decade ago. He was out hurt with that injury for 6 months. And then he came back. He got hurt again on the road to WrestleMania in 2017. He was out for a few months, almost missed Mania there because of that. And I'm probably not thinking of other injuries he's had, but he had those two big injuries. He got injured. He had a back injury, I think last year or the year before. He was out for a couple of months with a back injury last year. He took time off late last year for a nagging back injury that I guess wasn't fully healed when they brought him back in June of last year. He didn't get injured earlier this year in June or July or whatever during the Saturday Night Main Event match. He actually that was obviously a work. But I just feel like he gets hurt a lot, man. I feel like he gets hurt a lot. And it's hurt his momentum at certain points. And at other points, it's like nice to kind of get him off the show for a little while. But he gets hurt constantly. I mean, that headbutt spot was fucking stupid. Like, if that was the move that got him hurt at Crown Jewel, then honestly, that's his fault. Because that shit was a dumb move anyway to be hitting. It was a fucking stupid move. And not even for the fact he broke his arm, but why would you be hitting a headbutt from that far? After what we know about concussions and the whole Benoit thing, why the fuck would you do that move? I just thought it was stupid. But yeah, him specifically, I mean, he's not exactly in the prime of his career as Rollins. I'm not also calling for his retirement. He's a big part of that WWE puzzle as far as being factored into the main events and whatnot. But they really need some new blood at the top of the card so that they could plug these people in when people like Rollins get hurt. I mean, I feel like Rollins is the new age Orton. Orton has been hurt a fuck ton over the course of his career. I feel like Rollins is very similar in that respect. John also said, also in regards to the movie front, I've got more horror movies lined up like Black Phone 2 and some older ones. I'm also at 244 movies for 2025 as of now. That's crazy. I feel like you're going to end the year, John, with 300. I think you ended the year with 300 last year. What was your final total for last year? But Black Phone 2 we will be seeing. That comes out on Friday. We will very likely be seeing it next Tuesday for $5 Tuesday. So we watched the first one last year. I thought it was good. I honestly didn't love the movie as much as I thought I would. I thought it would be better than it was, but we're going to go see the second one next week. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Nathaniel said, I was shocked that Seth Rollins was kicked out of the division on Monday. Imagine if Brock Lesnar or CM Punk is the new leader. CM Punk beating the new leader would make absolutely no fucking sense. Why the fuck would they kick out Rollins for CM Punk, who's been a notorious loser for most of the year? I was thinking that for a second, like, what if Punk just stood up and, like, helped them, like, new Nexus style when he became the new Nexus leader back in 2010? That would just make zero fucking sense. So, Brock Lesnar is not a leader. He's never even really there. Can he be aligned with the vision or whatever they're going to be called going forward? Sure. He could be called, he could be called an ally of the vision. I don't think he's joining the vision, let alone leading the vision. I think you could just keep it at who it is. Either Breaker is the leader. Why would Breaker go from answering someone else's, like, why would he go from answering to someone else? From Rollins to someone else is what I should say. Why would he then replace one leader with another? He himself should just be the leader. So, no, I don't think we're going to get a new leader. Unless it's Braun Breaker, I don't think the Vision gets a new leader. They might get a new member at some point. I wouldn't be entirely shocked to see that, depending on who it is. But it should not be Punk or Lesnar. That would be silly. Does CM Punk beat Seth for the championship? I don't know. Does Seth even wrestle? If he can't fucking wrestle, then why? What we got on Monday, it would be very strange for Rollins to then come back to wrestle a match. Like, they really should have just figured that out. I feel like if they knew Rollins was hurt, you know what would have made more sense and what a fucking crazy ending that would have been to Raw? If they did what they did, but they did Punk and Rollins in the main event of Raw last night. So you still do the number one contenders match. You have that open the show. I know this would sound extremely rushed, but it would kind of have to be if Rollins is legit hurt. But you have Punk become number one contender at the beginning of the show. They then book Rollins and Punk for the main event of the show. And because Rollins can't work, presumably because he's hurt, they have the Vision turn on Seth before the match even gets going. And they just beat the shit out of him. And then Punk quickly hits him with the GTS or pins him or whatever and becomes World Heavyweight Champion. Because if they're setting up Punk and Seth for Saturday night's main event, would Seth also not be preoccupied with the rest of the division and the fact they betrayed him? I don't know. I just feel like we're not going to see him again for a while after what happened last night. So if that's the case, how do we get the World Heavyweight Championship off of him? I feel like they're just going to vacate the belt, but I feel like we've seen so fucking much of that in NXT and on the main roster so far this year with like actual injuries and whatever, with like Naomi it happened with recently, among other people. I don't know. I just feel like that would be lame. Do they just give the belt to Braun Breaker without even having him win it? I feel like there's a legit chance they could headline Saturday night's main event with Punk and Breaker. Now, I don't know what Breaker would have done to have earned that opportunity. Realistically, it probably would be Bronson Reed. He just beat fucking Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso, which doesn't really mean much, but he did beat Roman Reigns on Saturday at Crown Jewel. So Breaker, or rather Reed versus Punk, would make sense. And you could go either way. I think Punk is the next World Heavyweight Champion regardless, because I feel like that's always where they were building to, was Punk and Rollins, and Punk beating Rollins for that belt. I think this just speed things up. I would be very surprised if they rush things by just putting the belt on Breaker. Now, that would be cool, but I don't think they rush into that quite yet, and they hold off on that until maybe Mania or something like that. I don't know. I honestly have no fucking clue what they do now. This really messes up quite a bit. Grunt says, I hear that WWE had a say in the booking of the X Division title match. I saw that as well. I saw that earlier today, actually. I saw that right before we went live. I forgot who reported it, but yeah, they had a say in the finish of that match, which makes total sense. Watching the finish, I mean, it came down totally to politics. There is no way you can convince me that that finish was not based entirely off of politics, with WWE wanting to protect one of their own, and TNA not wanting to give up another championship to an NXT talent. Honestly, though, who fucking cares? Who cares? I mean, I would not have had Javon Evans win the belt, because like I just said, the NXT people have won enough of their belts. I know TNA just won their NXT tag team titles, but already 2 different NXT women have held the TNA Knockouts Championship, and Trick Williams just lost the TNA World title. To give them the X Division title too would be excessive. But Javon Evans would have lost in nothing. It's not like he's main eventing SmackDown next week. Like, Javon Evans can fucking lose. It would have been completely okay. He should have lost that match. It would have been totally fine. And instead, they wanted to protect him by doing the count. Like, it was just lame. It was lame. Their idea was, let's have Dark State interfere, who no one really gives a shit about anyway. But let's have Dark State interfere, and we'll get heat on them by having them be the ones to ruin the match. What's even worse is that they did the double count-out finish originally. They did the double count-out finish. And it's like, you already brought us down once, and then you brought us down again. That's what was even worse about it. I mean, they just didn't give a fuck. They didn't give a fuck, and they just instead did 2 different disappointing finishes in a row. And it felt like something you would see on Impact or on TV, or even one of their regular PLEs. Like this is their biggest show of the year. Imagine having an amazing mid-card IC title match, and like that at WrestleMania. People would be at Titan Towers tomorrow with fucking pitchforks, as they should be. I mean, it's TNA, so no one really cares as much. I understand that. But still, it was a dumbass finish. They should not have done that on their biggest show of the year. Nathaniel said, do you wish the Hardys were still in AEW so they could possibly battle Cope and Christian for the tag titles? Yeah, I mean, the Hardys' AEW run was disappointing because, I mean, obviously it was Jeff's fault what happened early on. But after he came back, like, I understand Tony Khan might feel like he might not be able to trust Jeff, but he wasn't doing anything with those guys. Like, nothing. I'm not saying they should have put the belts on. They should have put the belts on when they first came in 2022, when the Jeff fucked up. So they absolutely would have won the AEW Tag Team Championships. But they couldn't because that was Jeff's fault. I get that. But then Jeff comes back like 9 to 12 months later, and he's seemingly in a better place, and they were there for a year, and Tony Khan, in the year that they were there for together, Tony Khan didn't do fuck all at the Hardys. I could not tell you more than 3 matches they had in TNA from 2023 to 2024. They had various singles matches. They were on, I don't know if they were on Dark ever, but they were really on Collision doing a lot of meaningless matches. And I talked to Matt around that point. He said he was frustrated. They were pitching something with FTR, but that never really came to fruition, and that would have been a cool way to kind of utilize both teams in the meantime, not even over the tag titles. It was a complete waste of fucking time. So, yeah, I do wish they were still there, but they have a great thing going in TNA, so at least they're At least they're still active and doing their thing and whatnot. But yeah, it was disappointing they didn't do more at the end there of their AEW run. But again, I can understand from Tony Khan's standpoint, like, oh, I can't trust these guys because Jeff's a fuck up. But it's like Matt never did anything wrong. Matt was there for a long ass time. He was there for like 4 or 5 years, and he had a decent run there. He did well, I thought, for the time that he was there. But the money was in the Hardys, and for as over as they still are, I feel like AEW could have done more with them beyond what they had. Again, at least in my opinion. Would you be crying at the Shield betrayal? Johnny said, no, I was not crying at the Shield's betrayal, but it did make me mad when it happened. Did I like the Judgment Day betrayal on Edge? No, because that was way more rushed. I mean, the excuse with that one, and I liked the Judgment Day at that point. The worst part about that was that even Edge has admitted this in interviews that I've done with him. He even said that when they turned on him, they were just starting to find their footing. They were just starting to gel and really find their footing as a group. And then they fucking did the betrayal. That made less sense. Like with the Rollins Breaker Reed stuff, Rollins has been saying for weeks, and he said this at Crown Jewel, and he said it again on Monday, I don't need these guys. He kind of made it sound like they needed him. But honestly, he's not wrong. Like, well, not when he says they need him, because they don't. But like, he doesn't really need them, and they definitely don't need him. Specifically, Braun Breaker. He was already about to become a main eventer before he join the group. Reed joining never really made any sense. I liked him being a part of the group because it's a nice spot for him to be in. But storyline-wise, he went from feuding with the guy to then joining him. Why? He was already dominant on his own last year. He already fucking beat Rollins on Raw a year ago. Why the fuck would he need to join him? Like, that never made any sense. But I was willing to overlook that because I liked him being a part of the top heel stable. But from a storyline standpoint, it never really made much sense for Breaker and for Reed to be aligned with Rollins, aside from just being in main events, which they were closing in on anyway. That's my point. The Judgment Day one made zero sense because they were riding high, they were dominant. Edge had won at WrestleMania, he won at Backlash. Him, Rhea, and Damian won a 6-man at Hell in a Cell against Finn Balor, who then joins the group the next day despite being a loser. Like, that shit made no sense. The betrayal was shocking, so if they were going for shock factor, they sure as fuck got a shock factor out of me. It ended up being the best thing for the group. This iteration of Judgment Day is way better than the one they had with Edge, admittedly. But I was disappointed because I was digging the Edge heel stuff. Some people weren't, and I completely understand that. But I feel like they gave up on it too soon. Now, I understand they did that because Cody got hurt, and they needed someone in the babyface role. Again, I get it. But you could have done that by just pushing Finn Balor to the main event scene or something like that. But again, he was a loser, so I guess it was easier to put him in the Judgment Day than it was to push him as a babyface. And that was when Vince McMahon was still in charge, too. I feel like the Judgment Day betrayal one, what I like about it even less was they did not get pushed to the moon right after that happened. They were a complete fucking non-factor for months after that. It's not like they had this resurgence because Finn Balor was the leader. No, they were still losers. They were on a fucking main event there for a little while until Triple H took over and really rebooted Judgment Day by adding Dominic, making him more dominant, having Finn beat Edge at Extreme Rules. If it wasn't for Triple H, the Judgment Day would have died probably by late 2022. I can almost guarantee it. There is no way the Judgment Day is still a thing today if Vince McMahon is still here. Booking creative and whatnot. Give me Backshot Solomonster. I love the fucking name. As I've always said, that is just an amazing name. His question is, he said 2 wrestlers from WWE and 2 wrestlers from AEW. Who would you turn heel and who would you turn face if you had the choice? That's a good question. Who would I turn heel? 2 wrestlers from WWE and 2 from AEW. Like 1 face and 1 heel, is that what you're saying for both companies? I would turn Bianca Belair heel from WWE. I feel like she could really use a heel turn. She's not around right now. I mean, I would turn Jade probably, but if Bianca's active, I would turn Bianca. Absolutely, I would turn Bianca. As far as who I would turn babyface, I would need to look at the roster. Hold up, I'm pulling up the roster as we speak. I'll pull up the roster for both companies. I feel like everyone's kind of in the right situation. I might turn Dominic babyface. I feel like people are already willing to cheer him anyway. I'm looking at the roster now. I would just turn Dominic to break up the Judgment Day. I mean, it's been long enough. It doesn't really do much for me personally. Let's see. I'm looking at the SmackDown side now. Really no one that makes a whole lot of sense. Carmelo Hayes, I would say turn babyface, but they're kind of already in the process of doing that. I mean, that's really about it. Orton, I would turn heel. If we're not including Bianca, I would turn Orton heel. For sure, I would turn Bianca heel. Bianca and Orton heel. For AEW, let's see. Looking at the roster, they have so many fucking people on the roster. It's kind of hard to kind of keep track here. I have no idea. I mean, is Bobby even really a babyface? Bobby Lashley, they were faces and they're heels. I have no idea what the fuck they're supposed to be. Christian Cage is kind of a babyface now, so that kind of answers that question. Keep Darby. They don't really have anyone that I would turn necessarily, to be honest. I'm looking at the roster right now. Oh, Takeshita, actually. I would turn Takeshita babyface. He really needs to split from the Don Callis family. He does not need them. He's the fucking IWGP heavyweight champion. Why the fuck would he need the Don Callis family? So I would turn Takeshita babyface. Who would I turn heel? I'm looking at the roster right now. They have just a bunch of random people. Like they have like 20 different mats. I have no idea. Powerhouse Hobbs, maybe. He's already been a heel. That didn't really go anywhere. Samoa Joe, I mentioned. They just have so many fucking people on their roster. Holy shit. Let me look at the women's division real quick. Who would I turn heel? I don't really know. I'm trying to see who they have. A lot of these women aren't even on the fucking show. Not Toni Storm. Thunder Rosa, maybe. I mean, she's hurt currently, but like she's been a babyface pretty much since she's been there. I would try turning her heel because it's not like she had much else going on before she got hurt. So maybe turn her heel. Maybe you guys have other suggestions. When I get through the chat, maybe you guys can recommend someone else. Ricochet already turned, which has been nice to see. He's been working out a lot better as a heel than he was as a babyface when he first got to AEW. Okada, I would turn at some point babyface. I mean, I just kind of feel like he's not as special as he should be at the moment. Maybe turning him babyface would fix that. Oh, Hook. You know what? I would turn Hook. Hook is fucking boring to me. I think he's still a babyface. I would turn Hook. So, Hook is my answer on that front. Let's get back to, let's see what you guys were saying here in the chat. Let me backtrack a little bit here. Millennial New, what's going on, brother? He said, good morning, Graham. How you doing today? I'm doing well. Thanks for joining. He said, I like to call it spamming finisher matches. The homage matches, that's what he's talking about. Millennial Noob sent in a couple of questions I will answer a little bit later on. He sent in ahead of time. Nathaniel said, I'm all for Cena versus Dom, but I think Dom will win. What do you think about that, Graham? No, I don't think Dom beats Cena. I honestly, genuinely don't think Dominic Mysterio beats John Cena. Would I be upset at it? No, of course not. Dominic Mysterio could use the boost. I mean, the guy's already over. That would be a great endorsement of him. Just the way they booked Dominic, I don't fucking see him beating John Cena. I don't even really think that match needs to be for the IC Championship. Cena is not winning the IC title, nor should he. That's a fucking waste. He's going to lose it in his last match or have to vacate it. That's dumb. I don't even really care to see Dominic versus Cena all that much anyway. It works as a match maybe on Raw. At Survivor Series, I guess. I mean, they're in San Diego, so I mean, Dominic will absolutely be cheered there. I mean, you could do it. I don't see Dominic beating Cena, though. I feel like it would more likely end in like a DQ or some shit, and that would also be lame. And if you were to do that, it would have to happen on Raw. Do not pull a Bound for Glory and do that on pay-per-view. That would be garbage. Nathaniel said, I'm all for, I already answered that. Millennial Noob said, remember when Braun and Goldberg spam their finishers like crazy at WrestleMania 36 is laughable. No, I don't really remember that because the match was so fucking forgettable. It came together on a whim. Roman pulled out of the show to the whole COVID, immunocompromised thing when COVID really got going at 36, at WrestleMania 36. They replaced him with Braun Strowman, who had not been on TV in like a month and a fucking half after losing the Intercontinental Championship. He was kind of a loser at the time. They had him beat Goldberg in a match that no one will ever remember. And he also had a reign as Universal Champion that no one will ever remember. So I guess it's kind of fitting. Nathaniel said maybe Seth will have to vacate the title if he has to be out for a while. That's what I'm expecting personally. Fernando said, having Javon Evans versus Leon Slater go to a no decision was a chicken shit booking decision there. There should have been a definitive winner. I agree. Nathaniel asked, do Lyra and Bayley win the tag titles? I could see it. I mean, Alexa and Charlotte have had a decent run so far. I've enjoyed their team. I could see Lyra and Bayley going for the belts and then failing to win them. And then that's when Bayley turns on her. I just feel like they team and then one turns on the other. We've seen that so fucking often with the women's tag titles. I mean, we're probably going to see that with Charlotte and Alexa too. So I wouldn't do the exact same story with Lyra and Bayley. I would have them attempt to go for the tag titles and then lose. Noob said, Dark State show up out of nowhere is getting annoying. They're like the Timu Shield. I agree. Whereas the Shield, it's all about justice and vigilantes. Dark State is just boring. Yeah, their matches are fine. I mean, I like some of the guys in the group. They have a good look. It's just not really interesting. I feel like the lazy booking with Dark State is that they're just constantly put in 6 and 8 man tag matches in NXT TV. They did win the tag titles for 6 weeks. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad the Hardys beat them. That would have been terrible if it was the other way around. Dark State just exists to exist. Johnny said, WWE shouldn't have the American National Anthem sung in other countries. I don't know why they do that. I mean, I get it. They're an American company. They have American wrestlers on the show. They're just asking for the person singing the national anthem to get booed out of the building or the stadium or the arena or whatever. I don't know why they do that. I really don't know why they do that. When they do it in Australia, it would be the same reaction there as it would be in Europe or even in fucking Canada. They did that at Elimination Chamber. They booed the U.S. national anthem. And honestly, I can't really blame the crowd. I'm just saying I don't know why WWE puts that person in that position. Fernando said, which show did you enjoy better, Crown Jewel or Bound for Glory? Definitely Crown Jewel. I thought Crown Jewel was a great show. Bound for Glory was good. I enjoyed being there. But Crown Jewel was a better show with better matches. John said, Wrestle Dream is in St. Louis this year, actually. Oh, okay, so it's not in Washington. I thought it was. I think they were in Washington for Wrestle Dream the last 2 years, but not this year. So that makes sense. Okay, so I guess Darby can lose again because they're not in his home state. So I'm just kidding. Though. Hopefully he does win and they can move on from this feud. Fernando said, should the new Vision add a new member? I don't think, why rush into that? You know, like, let's boot Rollins, but we'll add a new member. No, like, it's almost like breaking up with someone and then rushing right into finding love like the next day. Like, just give it a little while, give it a couple months, maybe give it a month or two, and then we could talk, you know? I feel like that would be rushing into it. The only person I could see them adding based on the rumors of the reports from the last week is Austin Theory, and I'm going to be honest, I feel like they'd be fucking terrible. Maybe they can convince me otherwise, but Theory has been such a loser for so long now that for him just to be introduced and for us to take him seriously, it's such a sudden shift that I don't think that would work. I really don't. So I hope they don't do that because I saw the report from Meltzer. I hope that's bullshit because that would just be stupid. That would do more to hurt the group than it would be to help him. Your best match from Crown Jewel and the worst of Crown Jewel. Best match, easily Cena Styles. Great match. Very much enjoyed it. Worst match? The women's tag team match was great. I really liked the main event. I thought Stephanie and probably Roman and Bronson, to be honest. And even that wasn't a bad match, but it was the weakest of the 5. And I loved that Bronson Reed won. I thought that was the right outcome. I was very happy with that. I thought that was the right call, absolutely, especially after we already lost to Roman in Paris at Clash in Paris. But the match itself kind of paled in comparison to the rest of the card. So I would go with that as the weakest match. Best match was AJ and Styles for sure. Millennial Noob said, as evidence of last night, he got destroyed by Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And guess what? Becky Lynch on X was not happy that she's out for 1 week and last night happened. Yeah, that's another thing I'm kind of curious to see what happens, what Becky Lynch's reaction to it will be. Because she was kind of a part of the Vision, not really a full-fledged member, but she helped Rollins retain his World Heavyweight Championship in Paris. Kind of felt like she was part of the Vision there for a couple of weeks. She hasn't appeared to them since WrestlePalooza, but she's obviously an ally of the group, and now she's obviously out as well. She's not going to stand for them attacking her husband and kicking him out of the group only to stay with the group. That would make no sense. So I'm curious what her reaction will be when she's back on Raw next week and she's defending the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Maxine Dupree. Johnny said Seth was trying to outdo Rob Van Dam and Shane McMahon. But, like, why, though? You know, like, I saw the coast, but he was doing it with a fucking headbutt. It would be one thing if he hit the coast-to-coast with, like, a drop kick, which is what Shane used to do. Rob Van Dam, I think, also used to do a drop kick. Seth did a headbutt. Why? It was dumb. I wouldn't do the headbutt at all, But if you're going to do it, just do it as a regular headbutt off the top rope to Cody in the middle of the ring. Not across the ring where you can barely reach him, and then you have to land on your arm and fucking break it or your shoulder or whatever happened. Fernando said, should Braun Breaker win the World Championship? Eventually, yes. Now, I don't know if he wins it now. I don't know if he even really should. If he does, though, honestly, more power to him. Like, if you really want to shake shit up, put the fucking belt on Braun Breaker. I still think Punk wins the belt next, and I have no issue with that at all, because he needs a proper run after getting fucked over at SummerSlam. But if they want to put the belt on Breaker, sure. I'm not going to say they should put the belt on Breaker. I don't really think it matters one way or the other. It kind of depends on what he does in the meantime if he doesn't win the World Championship. But if he wins it, unless the reign is terrible and he's booked like shit, you will get no complaints out of me. If they really want to fast track him to the World Heavyweight title picture, because the guy's great. He's ready now. I would wait a couple months, but if they want to do it now, no issue with that, in my opinion. John Ritland says, final total for 2024 was 336. Holy shit. But he said, so I might beat that goal with all that's coming out in November and December. So if John is at 224 movies for the year, he's going to have to watch 100 plus in the next 2.5 months. God bless you, my friend. I hope you can do it. I mean, there's only, 80 days left? That's like 2.5 movies a day. So again, God bless you, my friend. I wish you the best, because I don't know if I could. That would kill me. I watch a lot of wrestling, but to watch a lot of movies, that many movies in the next month and a half would be nuts. Noob said Tony Khan definitely don't know how to book former WWE wrestlers in AEW. That's not necessarily true. I feel like Toni Storm is a former WWE wrestler. She's had a far better run in AEW than she ever did in WWE. Jon Moxley's been booked way better in AEW than he was for most of his WWE tenure. Swerve Strickland, also a former WWE talent, came from AEW or came from WWE, booked like a main event star in AEW overall, and he's been booked great. There's a lot of people he's booked well. Some other people, not so much. Rusev, Aleister Black. Keith Lee, I think, was really more of a health issue. Among other people that came from WWE and completely floundered in AEW. I mean, CM Punk, technically also a former WWE talent while he was in AEW, and he was booked like a fucking main event star, so you can't really say that overall that he's booked all ex-WWE talent poorly. Sasha Banks, again, another former WWE talent, booked like a total star in AEW, so that's not entirely true. Johnny said HBK and Carlos Silva, the president of TNA, said, they both told each other, that doesn't work for me, brother. Yeah, no, they literally did. They said, your guy beating my guy? Yeah, that doesn't work for me, brother. And that's why they did what they did. I was loving Edge with the Judgment Day faction, Nathaniel said. I was enjoying it too, personally. But a lot of people didn't, so I get it. Noob also said, Reed almost unalived Seth Rollins with a dozen tsunamis like crazy. Yeah, we're talking last year. Yeah, seriously, Reed had pretty much murdered Rollins last year. Why would he then going from feuding with him to then feuding with him or to aligning with him? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Nathaniel said, also, Vince said no to Finn beating Edge at WrestleMania 39. Yeah, that was when Vince came back into creative. He was back in power in WWE, not entirely, but he had a say, obviously. And he did not want Edge to lose to Finn Balor. And that's exactly what happened. Finn really should have beaten Edge. Edge had nothing to gain from beating Finn. I know that was the end of the story, like the babyface conquers. But they had nothing for Edge, lined up for Edge after that. He went on to do really nothing up until he retired from WWE or just left WWE in August. He was involved in a few matches on television, but that was it. He never wrestled on another pay-per-view again after that, I don't think. So Finn Balor really should have won. And Finn, after that, went on to win the world, or not win, but rather challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship that summer. So it's almost as if he should have won at WrestleMania, especially as the Demon. Nathaniel also said, I just think Edge is better as a heel than a babyface, in my opinion. Is Copeland turning heel in AEW? Edge is a better heel than a babyface, but we're at such a point in his career. This was kind of evident in 2022 when he turned. People don't want to boo the guy. I don't think he turns heel in AEW. I feel like he's only there for another year or so. They're going to really run this tag team with Christian probably up until the end. I don't see him turning heel. I don't. It would be interesting because I like him as a heel, but I don't think people want to boo him. They were fucking singing his song in the WWE post-show press conference or whatever you want to call it, the post-show at Crown Jewel. They were singing a song in the background. Not them not really knowing how contracts work, and they want Edge back, even though they really don't. They want Edge back just to feud with Cena for a month, and then they're not going to give a fuck about him after that. But anyway, I thought that was funny. Noob said Hikaru Shida as a heel would make sense. If she's on television, I think she had a visa issue, and that's why she hasn't been on the show in a while. I think she's been a babyface her entire time with the company, so turning her heel would be cool, sure. Daniel Malcolm joining us with the salute. Daniel, what's going on, brother? Great to see you here in the chat, as always. Johnny said, I would turn Willow heel. Why the fuck would you turn Willow Nightingale heel? She is the epitome of a babyface. She is so likable. To turn her heel would be stupid. What I actually agreed with, though, I will say this. I liked the decision to turn Chris Statlander heel last year. I thought she was a very good heel. I thought that was honestly her best work in the entire company, was as a heel last year for the few months that she spent with Stokely Hathaway as her manager. And then literally right after she beat Willow and they ended that feud, they turned her back babyface and split her from Stokely. Inexplicably, too. Inexplicably. She was a very good heel. And then they just completely pivoted from it for no real reason. I'm sure there is a reason, but they never really made that clear, and it was never explained. I'm still waiting for the reason why. Nathaniel said, I'm hearing people say the Rollins betrayal is a swerve. If that's true, then I'll be disappointed. I don't think it's a swerve. I know, fool me once, shame on me, or fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, whatever. Whatever the expression is. They got me the last time. Initially, after a while, it became clear, okay, Rollins is not actually hurt. There's been no update on his injury. He's obviously coming back at SummerSlam and cashing in, which is exactly what happened. I don't think they do the same angle in the span of a few months. That would just be so incredibly fucking lazy. That would be awful. So no, I don't think it's a ruse. I don't think it's a swerve. I think the injury is legit, and Rollins is going to be, even if it's for a couple of months, I do think they actually think he's hurt. Maybe it's a Mr. Kennedy situation where they think he's hurt and they rushed the briefcase off of Kennedy and gave it to Edge, who won the World Heavyweight Championship instead from Taker instead of Kennedy. It could be a situation like that where they overestimated how bad the injury actually is, and then he's only out for a month or two, at which point you probably would not have taken the World Championship off of him. I don't know. I'm not sure what their plan is. I guess we'll find out more next week on Raw. Johnny said, who else would you remove from the Don Callis family? Good question. They have, 14 members if you include injured people? I like the Brian Cage, Lance Archer tag team. They can be a tag team outside of the Don Callis family, but I like them as a team, so I won't say kick out them, but they're really just losers, so you really don't need them in there. I would kick out Wardlow. Wardlow had no reason to join the group in the first place. That was a complete waste. Take out Wardlow, take out Mark Davis. Who gives a fuck about Mark Davis? Who gives a shit about Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta? They're a good team. Do they really need to be in the Don Callis family? No. Trent joining I kind of liked initially, but then they just put Rocky Romero in there. It's like, who cares? At least take out Rocky. Trent can still be in there, but they would probably want them to team, so I would take them both out. Andrade, I would also have not had him join the Don Callis family either. He's already been back 2 weeks. He wasn't even on the show last week. I don't even know if they acknowledged him. So, I would have taken Andrade out of the Don Callis family as well. I would also, I'm taking out like half the group here. I would take out Takeshita and turn him babyface very soon. Fernando asked, any of the releases that you disagree with? Yeah, Wes Lee, I disagree with really more than anyone else. I like Stevie Turner. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't keep her. As a wrestler, she barely wrestled, so I can't really speak to her in-ring ability. But as a GM, honestly, I would put her in the GM role over fucking Ava, who sucks. They're never going to let go of Ava because she's The Rock's daughter. But how many times have we talked about Ava here on the stream and made fun of her for how fucking bad she is? She's terrible. So I would have put Stevie Turner in that spot, but they let her go. And Wes Lee is just so amazingly talented. To think they could not find a role for Wes Lee, of all people, is just mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. So I disagree with that one, but I'll talk more about the releases a little bit later on. Someone asked about it. I think it was a Millennial Noob, actually, who asked about it, so I'll get to it a little bit later on. Fernando said, Tina needs to grow a set and put their foot down and tell WWE we can book our own matches. Thank you very much. Stop giving WWE more power than they need, or that they do not need, rather, is what he says. If you have a WWE talent in your match, they do obviously have a say, but surely they could have come up with something more creative than whatever the fuck that was on Sunday. That sucked. I'm glad we got Siobhan Evans and Leon Slater. The match was amazing. They do not need to do a dumb finish like that on their biggest show of the year. Surely they could have gotten more creative than that. Nathaniel said, I laughed at people chanting Edge's name at WWE's pay-per-view. I was like, sorry, he's under contract with AEW. That's what I don't understand. I mean, a lot of these people are not stupid. They know he's under contract to AEW. People still think that Edge could come back. Oh, because, he left Dynamite. He didn't leave Dynamite. Like, he's taking time off to go do something. I would have been shocked if Edge actually left AEW to come back for what? One match with John Cena, and then what? People would go back to not giving a shit. I mean, I was surprised when he left WWE. I thought he would just retire there. But in retrospect, I'm glad he went to AEW. Fresher opponents, can reunite with Christian, got a TNT title run out of it. 2 of them actually. One was like 5 minutes, but he got a title run out of it. Probably going to win the tag titles at some point. That was never going to happen in WWE. So, I mean, it was funny that Triple H was put under pressure like that. I laugh at the Triple H reaction because Triple H went from doing the post-show press conferences, being asked actual questions most of the time, to then getting rid of those because he didn't want to be, faced with the hard questions, to then getting chanted at like we want Cross and all this other shit. That shit is fucking funny to me. And they're going to keep chanting shit. Like, it's going to come to a point where they're going to try to hijack those post shows with the fans in the background. They're going to start doing them in front of no people. Literally, that is what it'll come to at some point soon. If the fans keep trying to hijack these post show press conferences or whatever the fuck you want to call them. But anyway, as far as the Edge thing is concerned, yeah, people don't understand how contracts work. Like, he's under contract for another year plus. Could he have lied about that to leave AEW? Sure. But that was never going to happen. They probably could add on injury time anyway. He's only been teaming with Christian for 2 months. Why the fuck would he leave now? Like, none of that makes any sense. And people legit, I still see people on my timeline saying, oh, what if it's Edge as his final opponent? To answer the question up above or down below or whatever the fuck about John Cena's final opponent, we'll get to that soon from the scheduled questions. It's not Edge. I'm telling you that right now. It is not Edge. Nor do I think it should be Edge. But even if he was free, I would still say it shouldn't be Edge. But it's not fucking Edge, so let's stop assuming that it is. He's in AEW. He is Adam Copeland. You will have to deal with it. Turning Willow heel is a dumb idea. I agree with that, Fernando. He also said, should AJ Styles get a huge farewell tour from WWE? Should he? Yes. Will he? No. It will not be the same as John Cena's farewell tour. I'll tell you that much. I mean, John Cena got an entire year. AJ's not getting a year. He'll be lucky if he gets even a few months. I will say they should treat his retirement, since he has acknowledged it on the air now, they should treat it like a very big deal going into WrestleMania next year and have his final match be there against a big opponent. And it's a big deal. For him to just kind of go out with a whimper and like they barely acknowledge it, and his last match is at like fucking Backlash or Elimination Chamber or some shit, and he puts over Dominic Mysterio again on the way out, would be lame. Like, make a bigger deal about it. He's one of the greatest of all time. Let's treat him like the legend he is. He's not getting the John Cena treatment. I get it. But let's still treat him with a lot of respect and reverence on the way out. Emmanuel, what's going on, my man? He said, hello, just came in when you mentioned Mr. Kennedy and Edge Money in the Banks incident, that whole incident from 2007. He said, speaking of that, you ever think about how many injuries there were in WWE 2007? I don't really think about that because I wasn't watching at that point. I started watching WWE in 2008, so. I mean, thinking about it in retrospect, Triple H got hurt at the beginning of the year. He was out for a good portion of the year. So yeah, Triple H got hurt in 2007. Cena got hurt at the end of 2007. He was WWE champion for almost the entire year up until October or September, whatever. Cena got hurt that year. I think Shawn Michaels, I don't know if he got hurt. He was off the show for like 4 or 5, 6 months from like May to October or September or whatever. So he got hurt that year. Who else was hurt? Batista got hurt a lot, and he always got hurt. I'm sure Batista was hurt at some point. Undertaker got hurt. So, yeah, they really did have a lot of injuries in 2007 to a lot of their top stars. Kennedy got hurt, but he wasn't actually hurt. Edge got hurt. I don't know if I mentioned that. He had to relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship. So, yeah, I'm sure there's other people, too. Orton, I don't think was hurt that year. That might have been the one year that he was not hurt. He was out for a little bit in 2006 and 2008. I don't think he was hurt in 2007, though. But yeah, there really were a lot of injuries in 2007 in WWE. In addition to the whole fucking Chris Benoit thing, they lost a lot of talent due to injuries in 2007. And then Bobby Lashley left. It was a big shakeup that year for sure. Can I see Tessa in NXT anytime soon? Fernando asked. No. I feel like if they wanted Tessa in NXT to even just kind of like ease her into the NXT system because they want Tessa in NXT, don't you think they would have put her in the Invasion storyline? She is one of the biggest names in TNA that has been conspicuous by her absence during the entire storyline. Now, I know at one point in TNA, she was off the show because she was suspended. She actually confirmed the other day she was getting a boob job or whatever. So that's why she was off the show for a few months in the summer. Now, okay, so she's off for that reason. She was not she returned to TNA a few weeks ago. She was not on Team TNA at Invasion last week. She was not a part of the brawl at the episode a week or two before that. She's not in the Battle Royal tonight, an episode that was already taped. She's not in the Battle Royal. So I just feel like if they wanted Tessa Blanchard, if NXT wanted her bad enough, she would have been making appearances already. That's not to say they won't eventually hire her. I still feel like there's a decent chance of that. I feel like they're still in this training period for Tessa to kind of see if she stays on her best behavior. To my knowledge, she hasn't really done anything since she returned to TNA that would, she's been chanted at, you're a racist and all this other shit by the fans. But I'm saying behind the scenes, it sounds like she's been on her best behavior. She's also been doing a lot of losing, too. She lost to Masha. She lost to Indy Hartwell. She won a Bound for Glory, but that was against Gia Miller. She probably wasn't losing that match. She's lost, the bigger matches, so it's not like they've overpushed her or anything like that. She's been on her best behavior. She's, done some jobs. Over time, could they incorporate her into the NXT alliance at some point? I just feel like NXT, Shawn Michaels, whoever, are still a little gun-shy over Tessa. They don't want her on NXT getting chanted, having "you're a racist" chanted at her. So they're probably going to wait a little bit longer until that dies down. I mean, granted, at Bound for Glory, they were not chanting that at her. They were chanting nothing. I mean, Tessa wasn't really over in front of that crowd on Sunday. That crowd really did not care about Tessa. Whatever heat she had earlier this year is almost completely gone. I think her taking time off did not help with that. But yeah, I feel like if she was going to NXT, we would have seen her on NXT TV by now, at least making appearances, like Masha was. A lot of their talent has. I mean, Dana Brooke was appearing in NXT there for a little while before she had to retire. Who else? I mean, a lot of their women. The Iconics are fucking in NXT right now. I think they're in the Battle Royal tonight. Rosemary's appeared in NXT. A lot of the NXT, Mara Sade, who just fucking debuted, has appeared in NXT. The former Jakara Jackson, who was on NXT 6 months ago. So, yeah, it's interesting. Not right now. I feel like if they were going to sign her or want her in NXT, it's not going to be anytime soon. Nathaniel said, Adam Copeland is filming Percy Jackson Season 2. That's what I figured as to why he's not there right now. I figured he was doing something filming-wise for something. Percy Jackson would make sense. Hopefully he's not gone for too long. Nathaniel also said, well, WWE didn't want to give Edge a title run, but AEW did, and probably will give him and Christian a tag title run. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, I don't think Edge was really lobbying for a title run in WWE. What would he even have done? He was not winning. I mean, I honestly would have given him the World Championship one more time. But it's not like AEW put the world title on him, nor should they have. I just feel like we're kind of past that at this point. I would have wanted to see him win the Universal Championship back in 2021, but Roman was in the midst of that long run at that point, so it wasn't happening. So it never ended up working out that way. The only title that Edge would have won in WWE had he stayed was maybe the Intercontinental or U.S. Championship. But the whole idea as to why Edge left, or one of the reasons as to why he left, was because they were not booking him enough. He wanted to wrestle more. And they're not going to put the IC or U.S. Championship on someone that is not wrestling on TV every week or is not around every week. Edge was very here for 3 months, gone for 3 months. Punk is honestly more full-time than how they're treating or how they treated Edge when he was there. And there is something to be said for that, making him more of an attraction. I didn't really see him factoring into the mid-card title scene. In AEW, he wrestles a lot more. I mean, recently he hasn't been, but at one point he was wrestling in fucking Collision against Griff Garrison. Now, he wasn't really special at that point, so they probably should have him wrestle less than that, so he's not on Collision against no-namers. But, AEW, it made sense for him to win the TNT title because it was held by Christian. He's not going for the TNT title now. He will be tag team champion at some point with Christian, but that's probably the only title run that makes sense for him to hold at this point in his career. Richie, what's going on, brother? He is here. He said, what's going on, y'all? Doing well, Richie. Thanks for joining. Great to see you. Hope you're having a good day. Johnny said Triple H is going to start having the post-show inside to avoid these chants. I'm serious. Like, he might get to a point where he's starting to have these post-shows inside of a fucking empty building so people can't chant shit at him. I'm half joking when I say that. I could totally see that being the case. Who should AJ Styles face in his last TNA match? Last TNA match? I don't think he's going to wrestle in TNA again. I feel like that the time for that to happen would have been at Bound for Glory. I mean, they were in Australia for Crown Jewel, but I don't know. He should wrestle in TNA again. I don't think he will. Who should he face? Either one or two people. For nostalgia reasons, Frankie Kazarian. For putting over the future reasons, Leon Slater. Since he put him over already verbally in the promo at Slammiversary, he might as well face him for the X Division title and then lose to him. That would be awesome. If they're not going to let fucking Javon Evans get beat by Leon Slater, do you really think they would have AJ Styles in TNA to get beat by fucking Leon Slater? I doubt it. But that would be cool ideally. Having him in TNA to beat Frankie, I mean, he can get beat. Who gives a shit? It's not that big of a deal. That would be cool. So, yeah, either Leon or Frankie, I would say. For like a joke match, maybe AJ Styles and AJ Francis, but the match would be nothing, so I really don't want to see that. Which storyline was the first that you fell in love with in WWE in 2008? Good question. It was actually William Regal being the Raw general manager, him abusing his power. He was the GM. I thought that was cool. And then honestly, if he was the GM, I don't know if that was enough to hook me, but it was a week after I started watching that he won King of the Ring. And I thought that was the coolest thing. He was the GM in addition to being the King of the Ring. I thought that was fucking awesome. So, and that was really what hooked me. And I started watching the rest of the show after that as well. The rest of the show also interested me with other people that were on the show, but it was largely William Regal that kept me hooked. And it sucked because he was on the show doing this big storyline with all the top heels and Cena and Triple H and then Mr. Kennedy, and then he got suspended. And he has since said that it wasn't really his fault. I mean, he takes accountability for it, but it was for something that was like, they busted him on something that wasn't really his fault, I believe. But anyway, that was what got me hooked in WWE in 2008. Emmanuel said, I asked about WWE in 2007 because Batista was ironically one of the only top stars who did not get injured that year. He was in every 07 pay-per-view World Heavyweight title match. Or there you go. I thought he got hurt that year. I guess not. Almost everyone else did. I think Orton, that is kind of ironic. Orton and Batista were two of the most injury-prone WWE main eventers at that time. I don't think either one of them missed any time that year due to injuries. I think Orton was there all year, right? Yeah, Orton was there all year, if I'm not mistaken, because he won the championship in the fall. But I think before that, he was doing Rated RKO. He feuded with Shawn a little bit. Yeah, I think he wasn't hurt. And Batista, I guess, according to what you said, also was not hurt. So that's kind of crazy. Richie said, Leon Slater versus Javon Evans was some real graps, except that crap ending, but I get it, I guess. I don't get it. I think it's still fucking garbage. But that match was awesome, though. I agree. Grunt said, thoughts on Darby's cutting the cancer comments on Ariel Helwani's show. I mean, he didn't specify who he was talking about. It's very clear, though. He was referring to Miro and Aleister Black and people like that about them not wanting to lose. I don't think it was just them being gone that improved the overall morale in AEW. I mean, there's more to it than that. It honestly kind of sounds like he's talking about CM Punk. He's not. I mean, Ariel asked him a question and he answered it. So it's not like he just brought it up out of nowhere. But like, it would be nice, honestly, if he specified who he was talking about, because the first thought that people had was CM Punk. And he said, oh, we cut the cancer out. And Ariel asked, well, what do you mean by that? And he said, people not wanting to fucking lose. And Punk never had an issue with losing. He actually lost a decent amount to people like fucking Moxley in 3 minutes on Dynamite when he probably shouldn't have. Losing was never the issue with CM Punk. It may have been with people like Miro. I laughed, though, because he said that, and that was one of the big reasons, seemingly, as to why Andrade's run the first time in AEW fell flat was because he didn't want to lose and all this other shit. And then he's fucking back. You know what I mean? Like, Andrade, they literally just brought back Andrade. How can you make a comment like that? And also, it wasn't just the losing thing with Andrade. He had a terrible backstage attitude. He was getting in fucking fights and all this other shit, saying shit on social media like, oh, I should be booked. And then, like, he was another part of the problem. He fucking left the first chance that he had when his contract expired to go back to WWE for a year and a half, and now he's back in AEW. I mean, I don't know, man. It's funny to me. It's funny to me. I thought that comment wasn't dumb by Darby because he's probably right. But there's also a lot of people who are probably still there that don't want to lose. And it's not even just that. Like, he related it to being an ego thing. He goes, oh, it's not about ego. It's about having fun. It's not about going over. I mean, sure, it should be about having fun. But at the end of the day, brother, it's a fucking business. I'm not saying Miro should have not lost to certain people. I agree with that. Like, I don't know. We don't know exactly what happened. Black also is confirmed. He never had I mean, he fucking lost a lot in AEW. Aleister Black lost a decent amount. So, I mean, Miro, I could totally believe that with. Aleister Black, I don't know. Miro or Malachi Black, whatever the fuck his name was in AEW. But I didn't agree with Darby saying that, oh, it's all about just having fun. It shouldn't be about ego or wanting to go over. But at the end of the day, it is kind of about going over. Because if you lose enough times, you're not special and you're a fucking loser. And then you get fired or leave the company and you're not making money. It's a job. It's not just about having fun. It's a fucking job. So I think Darby's great. I heard other parts of the interview and he sounds like he's got a clear head on his shoulders, which is awesome. I thought that comment was kind of dumb. I honestly kind of disagree. I'm not talking about, I disagree with the Miro comment, although we didn't mention Miro by name. But I don't know. I just thought the way that his justification for it, that's his opinion, but his justification was stupid. Like, maybe these people had honestly every right to lose certain matches. And then people also kind of dragging the Lucha Bros into this. They didn't want to lose. Bro, they fucking lost all the time. They lost constantly. Phoenix lost constantly in AEW. So, I mean, again, he didn't mention the Lucha Bros. Ricky Saints is another one. Oh, he kind of, like, Tony Khan went out of his way to let go of a lot of people at a certain time. Ricky Saints being another one. He has also denied I didn't want to lose. It's fucking stupid. He lost, again, way more than he probably should have. And if he didn't want to lose in a certain situation, it probably made sense. So, again, I kind of think that's stupid, but I understand what he means to a certain extent. Fernando said, do you think we will ever see Seth versus Roman one-on-one at Mania? Apparently, we were supposed to get it at Mania this year, but now Rollins might be hurt either through Mania or before Mania, might changing up their plans. I still think we might get it. I was hoping we would because they've never had a singles match in Mania. They've had 2 triple threats, a couple tag team matches together, but never one-on-one. I hope we do get it. I don't know if we will, though, now, considering how much has changed with the Vision and whatnot on Raw. Nathaniel said, I think Edge and Christian is one of the greatest tag teams. I wonder when is the last time they were tag team champions. They were last tag team champions. It had to have been 2001. I think they won the TLC match, right, in 01? In Mania 17. I think they won all of the TLC matches, I'm pretty sure. So that had to have been the last time because they broke up later in 01. They reunited only a few times, maybe once in 05 and another few times in 2011. Never for the tag titles, though. I think they had a tag title opportunity. I remember them being advertised for a tag title match before Mania in 2011. Maybe I'm just making this up. I thought they were advertised for a tag title match, and then they scrapped it, and it didn't happen. But they could have been tag team champions at that point. Otherwise, it's been 24 years since their last tag team title run, unless I'm mistaken. Who is your favorite GM of all time, Johnny asked? I mean, easily William Regal. I mean, based on the story I just told you, it has to be William Regal, right? If it's not William Regal, either on Raw or NXT, he was a great GM on both shows. I think Nick Aldis does a great job right now. I think Adam Pearce does a good job. Eric Bischoff, I like. I wasn't watching during his era. I thought he was great in that role. Teddy Long, I liked. Vicky Guerrero was fucking terrible. I mean, I get it. She got a lot of heat, but they just dragged that on for way too long over the course of the next 5-6 years. So Vicky does not lead that list. I liked AJ Lee as GM for the few months that she was there. It didn't last long. I liked Daniel Bryan as GM for as long as he was there in 2016 through 2018. But the answer is probably William Regal. Fernando said AEW should book Willow and Beth Cope versus FTR. I mean, FTR would probably beat them. AEW doesn't do a whole lot of intergender matches. They've done a few. But Willow and Beth versus FTR, I mean, FTR would probably murder them. I like Beth, I like Willow, but FTR would probably murder them, so... I thought you were going to say Adam Cope and Beth. That would make more sense, but even then, they're probably not doing that either. Richie said, I know I'm late to the stream. Did you give your thoughts on Bound for Glory, or will that be saved for Thursday with RJ? I did give my thoughts earlier on the show. I did talk a little bit about it earlier. I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it. Some dumbass booking decisions, like I said earlier. But we're going to give a full-on review of the show when we discuss it on Thursday. We'll give her a full on-site report from being at Bound for Glory. We'll talk about that a little bit more, Crown Jewel in more detail on Thursday, and the releases, and this injury to Rollins, the whole vision shake. We have a lot to talk about on Thursday's WrestleRant Radio and WrestleDream predictions, which I kind of forgot about. Not because I don't care about the pay-per-view, but because I forgot it was this fucking weekend. I thought it was, I don't know, I think I thought it was next weekend or something. I don't remember. But yeah, to summarize my thoughts on Bound for Glory, enjoyed the show, thought it was a good show, fun first TNA pay-per-view for yours truly. I've been to better TNA shows. I've seen better Bound for Glories, but I thought it was good. Some good stuff, some not so good stuff, and one really, really great match between Slater and Javon Evans for the X Division Championship. Fernando said, if you were tasked to book an AEW versus WWE crossover, what's the main event? I feel like the answer's changed so much over the years because the faces of each company are just so different now. Like at one point you would have said Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega, but Kenny Omega is not the same Kenny Omega that he was. He's still awesome, obviously, but it's not the same. Who's like the guy? People aren't going to like this answer because they're so similar to me. This is why I would do it. Seth Rollins versus Adam Page, I feel like would be fucking awesome. Adam Page to me is like the guy in AEW. To do like Roman and Moxley would be lazy. I mean, they have a lot of history, but Moxley, like we've seen that match before. Once, but we've seen it before on WWE television. We've never seen Rollins and Adam Page before. Punk and Page again would be fucking hilarious, given what happened with them in 2022. But for a match we've never seen before, Rollins and Page would be cool. Cody Rhodes versus anyone in AEW would be weird because we already saw him in AEW. I don't know if he ever faced Adam Page, though. In AEW, I don't think he did. Before he went to AEW, he might have gotten that match in Ring of Honor, but he was also aligned with those guys in the Elite, so I don't think they ever did Adam Page and Cody Rhodes. So that might be a good match. I would probably say Cody and Hangman, the battle of the WWE champions. Punk and Hangman. Roman and Omega, just because it's different. I've always wanted a Kenny Omega and AJ Styles match, but at this point, it probably wouldn't be the main event because both guys are older. But a Kenny Omega match and AJ Styles would be awesome. Will and Gunther, Johnny said. Yeah, I could see that. As the main event, probably not. I don't see like Will Ospreay being the face of AEW right now. I don't see Gunther being the face of AEW. You would probably want, whoever's representing your company in the main event. You also have MJF, Cody and Swerve. Yeah, we've never seen that before. I don't think. Maybe they did do it years ago, but that would be a great match too. MJF, I'd probably would have him face CM Punk would be cool. They never had a rubber match. Who would MJF face from WWE? LA Knight? I feel like MJF might deserve a bigger opponent than that, but Cody Rhodes would be cool, but probably LA Knight, based on where they're currently advertised on the card. Richie said earlier, Darby's definition of fun might differ from the rest of us. Bro has shown us he has a death wish. I don't find that stuff he's done in matches and his personal time particularly enjoyable. My top takeaway from the Darby interview from what I saw, and just stuff that he said in the past, and I listened to his interview in Talk is Jericho, not long ago. It was like a couple months ago. It was actually a great interview. The guy doesn't give a fuck, and he doesn't want to do anything based on what other people are telling him. So it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what Tony Khan says. He's going to do whatever he wants. If that makes him happy and that makes him feel free, honestly, you cannot say that about most people. God bless him. I respect and applaud that attitude. I think it's dumb as fuck, but if he wants to do it because that's what makes him feel confident and happy and fulfilled and free, I think that's amazing. More power to him. So honestly, his attitude about it is great. He's got that I don't give a fuck what other people think attitude, which a lot of people have. I would not jump off a building myself, but I respect that. Emmanuel said, I think Alistair/Malachi has a Twitch account where he constantly tries to shut down the doesn't want to lose rumors. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times Malachi had gone on Twitter and Twitch and all this other shit where he said, I'm not fucking hurt, and it's not an issue if I don't want to lose. But people still say that. And I think his contract was just up. Like the Lucha Bros and shit, like Ricky Saints, their contracts were not up. I think Tony Khan just wanted to let them loose because it wasn't really helping the perception of AEW to be keeping these guys under contract and not do anything. So he just let them go. I think Malachi was just, I think his contract just expired, or they let him go. I don't know what the case with him was, but Miro was another one where his contract was not up anytime soon, and they let him go because they're like, just get the fuck out of here. Black, I mean, I think they wrote him off, and I think I don't know. It was interesting. It was interesting, that whole thing with him, and what exactly happened there. So I don't think it's a not want to lose issue. I think Malachi was more than willing to lose, probably more than he should have. But anyway, let's see. Nathaniel said, yeah, they were advertised. Fernando said, where would you rank Bound for Glory from the others, and the same for Crown Jewel? What, as far as other Bound for Glory shows? I would probably put it in the middle. There's been other Bound for Glory shows, like I said, that I thought were better. I can't even, like the last couple Bound for Glories, I actually did not watch live. I think this was the first Bound for Glory I've watched live in like 4 years. A lot of the cards just blend together. You know, it was better than like the COVID Bound for Glory because there were actual fans there this time. Probably better than like the 2019 one. The 2018 I remember being good. It was better than the Bound for Glories in like the mid 2010s. Like Bound for Glory 2014, 2015, 2016. A lot of those shows just fucking sucked. So it's better than all of those. I don't know if it's better than the more recent ones than like last year or the year before that, but it's probably somewhere in the middle of all time. I feel like Bound for Glory 2011, 2012, 2010 were all better shows than what we got on Sunday. I enjoyed those more than that one, but still a good show. And for Crown Jewel, it was probably towards the top. I mean, the first Crown Jewel was fucking terrible. That was back in 2018. That was an awful show. That was easily the worst they ever did. The 2019 show also sucked for the most part. It was better than 2018, but still not good. 2021, I maintain, might be their best Crown Jewel. That was where they did Brock and Roman, which was actually a very good match. A lot of people forget about that. They did Edge and Seth Rollins inside Hell in the Cell, which was an amazing match. Becky and Bianca and Banks, the triple threat with those three for the Women's Championship was good. We had the finals of the women's and men's King of the Ring tournament, which was fine, but like Xavier Woods winning was cool. I think that show might have been better than this one, but this was still a very good show. And then Crown Jewel, the last few years, 2024, 2023, 2022, were all good shows. They were all very good shows, actually. This one might have been better. Last year, what was it last year? Cody and Gunther, Nia and Liv, I didn't give a shit about. I forgot what else was on that show. Crown Jewel 2022 was a very good show, though. I remember that. So it was probably not the best one they did, but maybe top 3. Vicky Guerrero's voice, excuse me, Johnny said. Now, Vicky Guerrero's excuse me shit was fucking awful. Does TNA do press conferences? No, they don't, Fernando. Not post-show press conferences. They sometimes do, like, random press conferences to announce shit, like, randomly. But after shows, before pay-per-views, they don't. Emmanuel said, Black even said the story of him asking TK to release him was just that he was burned out in general. TK offered him time off, and Black admittedly never thought of just having time off. There you go. I believe Aleister Black as far as that goes. He might have been lying, but I feel like he has no reason to lie. He's also very intricate with the details where, I mean, it just sounds like he wasn't, I don't know. He was willing to ask for time off and not just to leave because he was unhappy. And he was going to go right back to WWE, although that was probably going to happen eventually anyway. Which GM had the best entrance song? Probably Teddy Long. William Regal's entrance song is amazing. Teddy Long's entrance theme gets me pumped every time I hear it. Eric Bischoff's I'm Back was great. So any one of those. Probably all the answers I gave earlier. They all have the best theme songs too. Richie said Big Justice versus Roman Reigns. Big Dog versus Big Justice. Fuck yeah. I'd pay the fuck out to see that match. Johnny said opening match, Dragon Lee versus Darby Allin in a TLC match. Dragon Lee I love. I think the guy's great. That is just so unimportant. I mean, Darby would need a bigger opponent from WWE. I'd rather see him in the ring with like a fucking Javon Evans than Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee is great, but he's just not as important as you're making him out to be by putting him in a TLC match with Darby Allin. Darby would absolutely have to win that. Johnny also said Braun Breaker versus Kyle Fletcher. Yeah. I mean, maybe the battle of the two futures, I guess. I feel like Breaker would destroy him, though. I don't really like that, but it's not like AEW has a lot of bigger people that Breaker can face, so maybe. If Wardlow is more important, then sure, but he's fucking not, so Breaker would mop the floor with him, too. Would mop the floor with him, too. Johnny said, Hell in the Cell, Brock Lesnar versus Darby. Yeah, if you want to watch a murder, then sure. Daniel said, where on earth is Ilya Dragunov? I have no fucking clue. I have no idea. I've heard he's been cleared for a while, and they're just waiting for the right time to bring him back. Bro, it's been over a fucking year. Bring the guy back. How do you not find something for this guy to do? Give him something to do. They did a six-man, I think a week ago, with Penta in there against, it was Dragon Lee, AJ, and Penta versus Judgment Day. And it was a mystery partner for AJ and Dragon Lee. And I'm like, oh shit, this might be where we get Dragunov back. It wasn't. They brought in Penta, which was great. I love Penta, but it's like, bro, bring back Dragunov already. What the fuck? Put him on SmackDown if you need to. I don't know. Emmanuel A. said, try to look up match records. Cody never faced Adam Page. He's had a one-on-one match against Adam Cole in Northeast Wrestling, though. LOL. I remember that. I wasn't there. Richie and I know Northeast Wrestling extremely well. Yeah, they actually did do Cody and Adam Page battle the Bullet Club members. This was right after they kicked out of Adam Cole out of the group, or right around that time, right out of Bullet Club. They never did that match in Ring of Honor TV or AEW television. They only had one match, and it was at that NEW show, which is kind of crazy. Nathaniel said, also Tom Holland is not expected in Avengers Doomsday, but expected to have a huge role in Secret Wars. I hope Toby gets his Spider-Man 4, or is in both Avengers films. I think Toby's done. I mean, he could be in one of those films. I don't think we get Spider-Man 4 with Toby. Why the fuck would they continue to make Tobey Maguire movies while they're also still making the Tom Holland movies? That just would not make sense. I think we're past that point. But him being in one of the Avengers movies would be cool. Him appearing in Secret Wars would be cool. I feel like there's a better chance we see Andrew Garfield than Tobey. But just my opinion, because he's younger and more relevant at this point. And Tobey's a classic, though. Don't get me wrong. I love Tobey. His movies are the GOATs to me. The GOATed Spider-Man movies. I just don't think they put him in. I don't think they use him again in a more extended role. Holland not being in Doomsday, though, doesn't surprise me. His movie comes out next July. So I think that movie that comes out with him next summer would explain why he's not in Doomsday. So that doesn't surprise me. They also have so many other people in Doomsday that you don't really need Tom Holland. You can wait on Secret Wars for that one. Let's see. Fernando said, can you trust the people who started watching TNA ever since the WWE partnership to continue watching TNA whenever the partnership ends? Can I trust those people to continue watching? No, but I feel like they should stick with it. I think TNA, even with the WWE influence, is as good, if not better than it was. I think people should stick with TNA. I never give up on TNA, even though I probably should have at certain points. But TNA is a good product, consistently solid. They have good shows. WWE isn't always consistent. AEW is not always consistent. It's more relevant than Ring of Honor. I feel like it's more consistent than NXT even, actually. So I feel like people should stick with TNA, and I want them to end up on a bigger network like the CW. That would be awesome. I don't know if people will. I don't know. Like, if NXT is getting good numbers on the CW, I'm curious how much of that audience bothers to tune into TNA. I feel like if they get even half of that, that would be an amazing win for TNA. But we'll see. Daniel said, I used to think Bischoff sang his own theme song. I think that was the case for a lot of people that thought they sang their own theme songs. Emmanuel said, very tangentially related, but I remember the Dream Match mode in WWE All-Stars game had 3 matches that were just rematches. Ray versus Eddie, Triple H versus Rock, Shawn versus Taker. I forgot that they had that mode. I remember they did the Celtic Warrior versus the Ultimate Warrior. I thought that was cool. Who did Macho Man face? Was it Macho Man and Punk? If so, that's fucking awesome. I forgot about that. But yeah, the matches you mentioned, that's crazy. Ray and Eddie, Triple H and Rock, and then Taker and Shawn Michaels. That's hilarious. Fernando said, how do you feel about the Hardys collecting tag titles? I think it's cool. It's another expedition of gold. They did that back in 2016, 2017. They then went to WWE, so they had to give up all those belts. But they literally held the WWE, Ring of Honor, and TNA. They are the first team to have ever done that. To have held the WWE, TNA, and Ring of Honor tag team titles. Not only are they the first team to have done that, they are the first team to have done that in the span of a fucking month. They literally held the TNA tag titles in early March of 2017. They immediately won the Ring of Honor tag team titles, and then they won the WWE tag team titles at WrestleMania a month later. That is insane. That is crazy. So I think it's cool that they're on another Expedition of Gold, holding the TNA tag titles, the NXT tag titles. It just makes me sad, though, that Jeff Hardy fucked up 3 years ago because they could have held the AEW tag team titles as well. I mean, if they did, if Jeff doesn't fuck up, are they even in NXT and TNA right now? Probably not, honestly. They might even still be in AEW. But, yeah, no one has ever held the WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, and AEW tag team titles. The Hardys have come the closest. The Motor City Machine Guns have come the closest. I mean, the Hardys more so than Motor City, because Motor City have never challenged for the AEW tag titles. They had one match in AEW years ago. The Hardys were going to challenge for the AEW tag team titles and lost back in 2020. Or they didn't lose. Jeff, he fucked up, so it didn't happen. But they came the closest to that actually happening. The Motor City Machine Guns never came close. The Lucha Bros might actually be the first team to do it. They might actually be the first ones to break that record once they inevitably hold the WWE Tag Team titles. They are former MLW, Impact, Ring of Honor, and AEW Tag Team champions, so it might actually be the Lucha Bros that break that record. Fernando also said, have you seen the Hardys versus Dudley Boys live before? Actually, yes, I have. I don't know if it was that match, but the Hardys were feuding with the Dudleys when I went to my first TNA show in 2014. So I was not there for any of their matches in the early 2000s, obviously. But they were having a series of matches with the American Wolves back in 2014. I'm almost positive I was there for one of those matches they had during that series in late 2014. And it was a great match. So actually, yes, I have seen them face off before I saw them live on Sunday at Bound for Glory. Nathaniel said, yeah, and I'm excited to see how Tom Holland does in Spider-Man 4 in Secret Wars. Me too. I'm looking forward to those movies. I'm actually in the process right now of watching the old Spider-Man movies. I've seen Spider-Man 1 through 3 before, but I rewatched them recently. The third one's a mess, but the first two are great. The second one probably even more so than the first. But I shockingly had never seen The Amazing Spider-Man or The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I just watched The Amazing Spider-Man 1 for the first time last week, and it was actually pretty good. Not my favorite, but it was actually pretty good. I know the whole story with the second one. I know a lot of what happens, but I'm going to watch that soon, and I'll give my 2 thoughts on it, my 2 cents on it on Letterboxd. Fernando said, who were better rivals, Hardy Boys versus Dudleys, or Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian, or Dudley Boys versus Edge and Christian? Absolutely Hardys versus Edge and Christian. Easily. I know they were all feuding with each other, but the feud really started with the Hardys and Edge and Christian in that ladder match in No Mercy 99, I think it was. And I feel like they had more matches together than the other two teams did with each other, so yeah, I'm totally going Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian. And they also feuded one-on-one as well. I mean, like, it's not like Jeff ever really, I mean, I guess he did feud with Bully Ray in 2013 in TNA. But we got a lot of feuds with Jeff and Edge, Matt and Edge, Jeff and Christian and Matt and Christian, not really, but we did get Jeff and Edge and Matt and Edge a lot, so I would totally go with that one as the best combo as far as feuding-wise. Emmanuel also said All-Stars had Randy Savage versus John Morrison. I forgot about that. And CM Punk versus Stone Cold, based off Punk leading the Straight Edge Society. Those are 2 great fucking matches. I forgot about those. You know what? I think you just got me in the mode to buy that game again. I have that game for the Wii. I don't know where the fuck it is. I don't even know where my Wii is. But I had that game for the Wii. I got it for my birthday that year, the year that it came out in 2011. I got it for my 16th birthday. I thought the game was a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoyed that game. I don't think I ever fully beat it, but then I ended up bringing it to college with me. When I went to college a few years later, there were like a circle of games, a cycle of games. I mean, my roommate had, I think, an Xbox or a PS4 or whatever the fuck. But I brought my Wii up with me, and there was a cycle of games that when I was in college for my first semester of college, my freshman year of college, that everyone on my floor, not everyone, but like a handful of people would come over and we would play certain games. So like my first week at college when I had my Wii, we played a lot of Super Smash Bros. That was our game. We played the fuck out of Super Smash Bros. We actually beat that game, the Wii version. I think it was Brawl. That was a great game when I first played it in '08. It was even more fun when I played it in college. We played a lot of Super Smash Bros. Excellent fucking game. I would get wrecked by my roommate because it was way better than I was. We played a lot of Brawl. We played a lot of Mario Kart. Mario Kart was really fun. And this was only the first semester. Like, I remember we played a lot when we first got to college. And at the end of, like, right before Christmas break, we played a lot of Mario Kart. We had, like, a whole tournament going on. And then next semester, we didn't really play that much. We didn't really play much Wii at all. That was pretty much it. I kind of played my own PS2, but yeah, memory-wise, it was amazing. It was a very fun period, but we played a lot of Wii. We played Brawl, we played Mario Kart, we played All-Stars. I don't know why, but one of my friends down the hall who's not a wrestling fan wanted to play fucking All-Stars. He thought it was amazing because it wasn't really realistic. It was so over the top. That's why I think he enjoyed it. But yeah, he liked All-Stars. He would also like to watch me play it too. I don't know. Again, I don't know why, but he really liked that game. Mario Sunshine, which was not a Wii game, but we played that on GameCube. Played the fuck out of that game. We actually beat that. I mean, my roommate and that other kid that I just mentioned, they actually played it and beat it within the span of a week. They were over at my dorm every week leading up to Thanksgiving, playing that game, making sure they beat it. We played a lot of SSX Tricky. That was another great game. Yeah, we played a lot of great games during that period, but those were the main ones. I had a lot of games with me, and they played a lot of those. And we were known as like the Wii kids on our floor because everyone wanted to come over and play the Wii. Anyway, Richie said The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a film with great performances that were marred by a terrible script. What should have been the better movie ended up a muddled mess because Sony can't stop interfering. I mean, that was the case with Spider-Man 3 too, so that doesn't overly surprise me. But I'm looking forward to watching it. It's the only Spider-Man movie I have not seen. I've seen the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, all the Tobey movies, all the Tom Holland movies, and the animated ones, the what's it called? Spider-Verse. I've seen those, and those are great movies too. So I'll be watching that hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Nathaniel said, I'm sure Tony was disappointed he couldn't get the Hardys tag titles, but is excited to do it with Cope and Christian. I guarantee you he really would have wanted to do the Hardys versus Cope and Christian. But by the time he got Cope, the Hardys were just not important anymore. I'm kind of shocked he didn't book the Hardys better because he knew he got Cope in late 2023. The Hardys did not leave until early 2024. So they weren't doing Cope and Christian reunion at that point, but he could have kept them satisfied enough that they were able to do that match at least one more time before they left, and that just wasn't the case. Fernando said, do you believe the rumors that James Gunn is out as head of DCU? Absolutely not. Why the fuck would he be out as the head of DCU? Is that a new thing as of like now? Did that happen like today or something? I have not seen that at all. I wouldn't believe that anyway because like Superman did so well. Peacemaker did so well. He's like the Triple H of the DCU right now. Why the fuck would they why would they replace him after only a few years? Emmanuel said, I remember the Amazing Spider-Man reboot was controversial for a while because Spider-Man 4 stalled in production and Sony needed something by 2012 to keep the film rights. That's why I didn't see it. I didn't see Amazing Spider-Man because I still wanted more of Tobey. I was like, I'm not fucking watching this shit. Why are they rebooting it again after only 5 years with a different actor? I would have much rather seen Spider-Man 4 before an Amazing Spider-Man. I had no interest at all. And that's why it took me well over a decade to finally watch it. Richie said, the CGI for a 2014 film is very good, especially the opening sequence. No spoilers, LOL. Also, the best-looking Spidey live-action suit, in my opinion. Interesting. All right. I'm looking forward to watching it then. A lot of Spider-Man comments here. Fernando said, I was disappointed that Amazing Spider-Man 3 never happened. We were going to get a live-action Sinister Six. I know that. I've seen the post-credit scene for Amazing Spider-Man 2 before. We kind of got that, didn't we? I mean, with No Way Home, it wasn't called the Sinister Six, but they had 5 different bad guys. I mean, they had 5. They had 3 from the Tobey movies and 2 from the Amazing Spider-Man movies. We kind of got Sinister Six, did we not? Again, they didn't call it that, but that's basically what it was. If they just added fucking Venom, it would have been Sinister Six. I honestly don't really know. I don't really know if I want to know what a Sinister Six from the Amazing Spider-Man universe would have been. I feel like that would have sucked. And they haven't done it yet. I know that we've had the recent Sony movies, a lot of which were awful. I mean, even Venom isn't cinema, but Venom might as well be cinema compared to Craven, which sucked. Madam Web was terrible. Morbius was awful. I mean, those movies are just fucking dog water. So maybe it's for the best that whatever they were planning there with the Sinister Six didn't actually pan out. For whatever reason, they can never get it to work. But the closest that we got to it in No Way Home, I enjoyed. So I'll take that. Emmanuel said, then there was a big email leak that revealed Sony wanted to do a spin-off film to set up a Sinister Six movie as a way to compete with the MCU. I read about that last week. Because after we watched the first one, I kind of got into the Spider-Man mode, so I heard about that. That's interesting. Emmanuel also agrees that Nintendo Wii was a cool system. Fernando said, do Alexis and I pass out candy for Halloween? No, maybe at some point down the road. Actually, we try to do something on Halloween. We try to like go somewhere literally every year for I mean, as long as I've known her, but even before I knew her, I always did something on Halloween. When I was at school, I went to school in Massachusetts. I would try to go to Salem, Mass on Halloween. I mean, if you've ever seen the Disney movie Halloween Town, that is really Halloween Town every year. I love Salem, Mass. It's a lot of fun to go to. It's fucking crazy in October, especially on Halloween. But I did that twice when I was in college. Either that, I would watch movies. I actually watch on Halloween every year. I watch Ghostbusters every single year, and I've done that since 2011. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's still fucking funny as hell. I love Ghostbusters. I try to watch that every year. I saw it in a movie theater with Alexis 4 years ago, I think, when we were on our way back from Salem. There was a movie theater on the way home, and we stopped in and watched that movie. We might go to Salem this year on Halloween. What did we do last year? I think last year we just went to the movies. We saw Venom 3 in theaters because I wanted something to do. 2 years ago, we saw Five Nights at Freddy's in theaters. 3 years ago, we went to... did we go to Salem? No, but we saw Trick or Treat. It was an '07 movie. Very good movie. My college roommate, my other college roommate, a different one than the one I mentioned earlier, he showed that movie to me, and I really like it. I like Trick or Treat. So we watched that in theaters in 2022. So I guess we've actually been to the movies on Halloween for the last number of years now. Might do that again this year on the way back from Salem. We'll see. But I did pass out candy on Halloween when I was in college, I think once, like 10 years ago. But that would have been the only time we've done that. Down the road when I'm older and I don't want to go out anymore, then I'll probably just end up doing that. Nathaniel said, which superhero would you want to see Spider-Man interact with in the MCU, and which Spider-Man? Good question. Which superhero would I want to see Spider-Man interact with in the MCU, and which Spider-Man? I mean, I love Tobey. I mean, you know what? People have said Andrew, but Tobey Maguire and Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, would be fucking awesome. I don't care what anyone says. For me specifically, I mean, not me, just me, but like, again, for nostalgia, because I grew up on Spider-Man. I didn't grow up in the X-Men movies. I grew up when they came out. I only ever saw the first one. I ended up watching them all last year. I've seen them all as of now. But, Hugh Jackman I associated with Wolverine more than anyone. So I love seeing him back in Deadpool and Wolverine. That was awesome. I would love to see him brought back and interact with Tobey's Spider-Man. That would be awesome. Richie said, thoughts on Ridge Holland's contract not getting renewed? I'm surprised he lasted this long. No disrespect, and I'm also surprised he lasted this long. He's been there for a long time. I mean, he started out on NXT UK. They put him over on NXT about 5 years ago. Then they put him on the main roster. They kind of rushed him up to the main roster within a year because he got hurt. He was in NXT. He got hurt very quickly when he was aligned with Pat McAfee and Pete Dunne and those guys, Lorcan and Birch and whatever. He got hurt, and then, he was out for like a year. And then they put him on the main roster in early 2022, and that never really worked. They had the whole Brawling Brutes, and the Brawling Brutes were fine. They were on the main roster for a while, and that kind of fizzled out, and Pete Dunne should have been utilized on his own, and they put him with Tyler Bate anyway. But they just moved Holland to NXT, and apparently he was working NXT. He was working under an NXT contract, because my initial thought is always he's on main roster money. So, of course, if he's working under main roster money, they're going to let him go. But per Alvarez, actually, I kind of trust his opinion more than Meltzer's. He sounds a bit more credible. But he was working under an NXT contract for the last few years. I like Ridge. I saw more potential in him when he first started out. I don't know if I said Brock Lesnar-esque, but he kind of gave me like this brooding, like dominant force vibes. But he never really panned out. He never really got that good. Like, he improved, but he just didn't have great charisma. His mic skills weren't great. They tried him out with the whole Chase U thing. That was kind of a bust. They fucking fired most of Chase U anyway, and they now fired Ridge Holland. That whole thing was a waste of time in retrospect. His NXT run didn't really reboot him the way that they thought it would, I don't think. And I was shocked he was still there, too. He has not been in an NXT really in many, many months. So the fact they let him go doesn't surprise me, and it doesn't really bother me. What bothers me, though, is I know they didn't release him. His contract is up, but he got hurt under their watch at a TNA show recently in a match with Moose. He faced Mike Santana, I think at Victory Road a couple of weeks ago. Then he worked a match with Moose. This was literally in the last few weeks. This was not like 6 months ago. This was very, very recently. He faced Moose at a TNA taping. I don't think the match ever made the air because of because he got hurt. He got hurt, and now he can't work for a while. Now, they are paying for his rehab, thankfully, but they're not going to pay him. He's not making any money, and he can't. Honestly, it would probably be better if he got released. If he got released, at least they're paying him for the next 30 to 60 days. But because his contract is over, he's not making any money, and it's not like he got hurt doing a fucking indie show. He got hurt doing TNA, but he was there because of WWE. So at the very least, it would be nice, as people have said on Twitter. They don't have to. Legitimately, they don't have to. Morally, it looks shitty. They're not obligated to pay him while he's injured. But he got hurt under their watch. He only just got hurt. This was not 6 months ago. Like Apollo Crews got hurt a fucking year ago. If Apollo Crews got fired tomorrow, it would suck for him, and I would feel bad. But like, if they don't want to pay him anymore, honestly, I get it. Like, he got hurt a long time ago. It's whatever at this point. But for Ridge, he just got hurt. So what I think they should do is what people have suggested, and it's fucking NXT money. He wasn't making $500,000, okay? He definitely took a demotion to go to NXT. They should pay him whatever his salary is until he's cleared. At least for the next couple of months. At least pay him for the next month or two. I guess they're paying him for another month because he found out his contract is up in a month. So they're paying him until then. But after that, he's fucked. And I don't know what the injury was and how long he's supposed to be out for. If he's out for 9 months, that kind of sucks. I'm not going to say re-sign him just to, keep him around. They don't have to ever put him on TV again. But I think because he got hurt under their watch, they should they should support him while he's out. Just my opinion. Noob said I was more of a PlayStation guy, especially the PlayStation 2 era. Me too. I played a lot of Ratchet and Clank, and I also played a lot of Kingdom Hearts because I was a Disney fan, but I was never a Final Fantasy fan. I always got Kingdom Hearts mixed up with Final Fantasy. I'm a big Disney guy. I was told a lot about Kingdom Hearts when it was a big thing 15, 20 years ago. I never played it myself, but I remember the games. I never played the hardcore PS2 games. I only really had a PS2, to be honest with you, to play fucking SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 because they did not have it on the Wii. And on the Wii, they had SVR08, but they didn't have GM mode. So I only have ever really played SVR07 on PS2, but I played it for that and Battlefront. Now, I know they've since rebooted it and shit, but Battlefront's fucking awesome. It's a great game. Specifically the first one, but the great game. The second one's great too. These are from like the early 2000s. Battlefront's a lot of fun. And SVR07. I don't really know what else I played on the PS2 beyond those games. I'm sure I played Bully. I bought Bully recently. I have a PS4 that Alexis gave to me or actually her brother gave it to me. He didn't want it anymore. So we have a PS4 now. That's why I play WWE 2K25 on that. I bought Bully on that about a year or two ago. Never finished it. I want to finish that at some point. Anyway, I wonder if we'll get Spider-Man versus Venom, Nathaniel asked. I feel like if that was going to happen, it would have happened by now. They had their chance in No Way Home after they teased the crossover and it didn't happen. I feel like we're past it. If we get it, it's going to be much further down the road when they reboot it again. We got 3 Venom movies, which were decent, but they never once crossed over with Spider-Man. What a fucking missed opportunity. Richie said, Venom on paper are not great films, but there's something about them that's oddly charming and entertaining, although I wasn't a biggest fan of the second film. I agree. I think the second film is probably the weakest. I enjoyed it, but it was probably the weakest. I think I would rank them 1, 3, and then 2. And yeah, I enjoyed the movies. They're far better than the other ones, though. The other ones are fucking terrible. Like Richie just said, I was going to say the exact same thing. All of the other Sonyverse films are dog water. I agree. Daniel said, my fam used to leave out candy until folks started stealing the bucket every year. Yeah, because people are fucking terrible. I wouldn't do that either. I wouldn't trust people to just take one. They would take fucking 5 or the whole thing. So, especially with the way that teenagers are now and shit, they would probably do it for a fucking TikTok. So, yeah, I'm not doing that either. Fernando said, Ghostbusters is also one of my favorite movies of all time. I was a Ghostbuster for Halloween for 3 years as a kid, and I had a realistic-looking Buster outfit. That's cool. I went as a Ghostbuster. I always wanted to go as a Ghostbuster for Halloween. A friend of mine, when I went trick-or-treating when I was in high school, I went trick-or-treating until I was a fucking junior. Sue me, I guess. But it was fun. I would go out with my friends. Senior year, I did not go out. I wasn't invited to parties anyway, and we were still kids. Who gives a shit? But anyway, one of my friends that year, a friend of a friend, went as a Ghostbuster, and I thought that was super smart because I loved the movie. And I'm like, you know what? One of these years, I want to do a Ghostbuster Halloween costume. And I did in 2014. I specifically timed it so I could I mean, this is so fucking stupid. I wanted to coincide with the 30-year anniversary of the movie. So that's why I did it in 2014. It was 30 years of Ghostbusters. So I went as a Ghostbuster for Halloween. And honestly, people wanted to take pictures with me and stuff. It was cool. I enjoyed the costumes. I enjoyed wearing the costume. It was a fun year for Halloween. I went to Salem that year. It was great. Nathaniel said, do you think Tobey's Spider-Man role would be huge in Avengers? Would he have a huge role in the movie? No. But would it go over well, so to speak, in wrestling terms? Yeah, I think it would go over well. I think he would get over if he was in that movie. Probably wouldn't have a lot of screen time because they're going to have a lot of fucking people in those movies, but you never know. Daniel said, whoa, Ridge Holland and Brock Lesnar in the same sentence? That's the first time for everything. There's a first time for everything. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that I thought he was the next Brock, but he kind of gave me Brock energy from Brock's early years. But that was like when he was in NXT UK. He kind of had potential. And I thought, I'm like, oh, wow, this guy could really be a real wrecker or like a real killer on the main roster at some point. Didn't really work out that way. Fernando said, are you a fan of the recent Ghostbusters movies with the women and the kids? Kids, yes. Women, no. And no disrespect, it's not like an all-women Ghostbusters movies wouldn't work. That one specifically did not work. It wasn't really funny. It was fucking lame. The other two ones I liked. They're not like amazing. I honestly think they're better than Ghostbusters 2. I think Ghostbusters 2, I watched that back for the first time in decades recently, like last year or the year before. It was not great. It was not great. But the two recent ones I liked. I think I liked Afterlife more than the more recent one, Frozen Empire, but I like them both. I enjoyed both movies. And if they make more, I'll fucking watch them because, I'm part of the problem. I can't wait for the penultimate episode of Gen V tomorrow. Me either. Season's great so far. Ghostbusters or the Winchester Bros from Supernatural series, Fernando asked. Ghostbusters. I have never seen Supernatural. My old college roommate did. He loved that show. I never watched it, so I can't say the Winchester Bros. I would go Ghostbusters. I hope Kingdom Hearts becomes a movie, Nathaniel said. Almost a lot of video games do turn into movies, so I wouldn't be shocked if Disney wanted to do that as a fucking Disney Plus exclusive or something. Fernando said, which movie do you rank higher, Ghostbusters or Pirates of the Caribbean? Great question. I fucking love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, specifically the first three. The other two are garbage. Specifically the fifth one. The fourth one was whatever. The first three are great. I would absolutely Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is legitimately top 3 favorite movies of all time. Back to the Future trilogy is number 1, specifically the second one, but I really count all 3. 2 is Avengers Endgame / Infinity War. Really both of them, but specifically Endgame. And then Ghostbusters. Those are my top 3 favorite movies of all time. The first Guardians of the Galaxy movie is also up there. I fucking love that movie as well. But I would probably say Back to the Future, then Endgame, then Ghostbusters. Emmanuel said, very random, but I saw a video that referenced Bryan Alvarez's 2006 reports, and he claimed Cena was legitimately upset by losing the WWE title at New Year's Evil. Was it New Year's Evil? Not New Year's Evil. New Year's Revolution, right? Until WWE reassured him that they weren't giving up on him. Oh, yeah, he said New Year's Revolution. That's interesting. I wonder if that report was real or if it was legit, Cena being upset that WWE gave up on him. I mean, he was getting fucking booed every day, all the time at that point. So I could see him thinking, oh, I lost the title. My push is over. They're booing me, whatever. And instead of turning him heel, they just kind of moved along with him as the top babyface, which was a mistake, but whatever. Daniel said, well, Ridge was kind of a wrecker on WWE. Ain't that right, Big E? Oh, man, that's terrible. I mean, you're not wrong, but, it's definitely, you're not necessarily wrong on that. You know what was kind of weird to me, though? They obviously didn't really capitalize on, nor should they have. I mean, Big E legitimately retired because of that fucking neck injury, and they shouldn't be like, oh, more heat on Ridge, blah, blah, blah. They kind of forgot about it and moved on. But they did go back to it years later. Like, they did a stupid-ass angle in NXT where he almost ended Ilya's career, not on purpose. It was a work thing. It was a storyline thing. And then he wanted to capitalize on the heat that he was getting like fucking 3 years later. It's like, bro, we moved on. We're not doing this anymore. This was, I think, last year. They wanted to turn him heel from Chase U and then capitalize on the heat that he had from injuring Big E. It was dumb. It was so dumb. And it didn't work. Nathaniel asked, have I seen Wreck-It Ralph? Yes, I've seen both movies. They're good movies. I enjoyed them both. I think I remember the first one more than the second one, but I liked them both, though. I enjoyed both movies. Have I ever been to a hog show, Daniel asked. House of Glory? No. I've wanted to go specifically. I know Solomonster does commentary there, and he's like the commissioner and shit. I've heard a lot of great things from him and just in general about the shows. The issue with the shows, though, is that they're in New York. And it's not that they're just in New York. They're not really easily accessible. So I've been to a couple of Evolve shows, one in New York, and I had to take I'm not driving to New York City. I'd rather fucking die than drive to New York City. Like to take a train and then take a subway and then to walk to the place. I've done that for a few shows in New York. I'm just at a point now where that's just, I have to, it would have to really be worth it. It's just too inconvenient for me. Now, if it was at Barclays or MSG, then sure, but they're obviously not running either of those buildings, then so no. The other shows I've had to take like Ubers to and taxis and trains and drive to, it's just not worth it. So no, I've not been to a House of Glory show. If they ever run a show in an area where I'm at, like at WrestleMania weekend or something, then I probably would. But just to go to New York to go see it, I would love to see a home base show with them, but it's just not convenient for me, unfortunately. The travel isn't easy. Johnny said Godfather 1 and 2 are tied for my favorite movie of all time. The Godfather was actually also one of Alexis's favorite movies of all time. The first one. We watched the second one back recently, and it wasn't that great at all. It was good. I mean, I thought it was fine, but it was too long, kind of dry. I didn't like it. Thought it was a bit overrated, but the first one was good, and that's one of her favorite movies of all time. Are you a fan of the horror movie Salem Lot? No, I don't think I've heard of that. I definitely haven't seen it, but I don't know if I've even heard of it. Would you want Wreck-It Ralph 3, Nathaniel asked? No, I feel like it's been long enough. The first one came out in 2012. The second one came out in fucking 2018, which was long enough, and it's already been 7 years since the last one, so no, I'd rather they just make original movies and move on, as opposed to doing a sequel from a fucking decade ago. Now, if we're talking Incredibles, I don't even really want Incredibles 3, but at least like the Incredibles is an established IP. Wreck-It Ralph is good too, but Wreck-It Ralph is not the Incredibles. It's not Toy Story. It's bad enough they're even doing that shit. I would not continue it on with like every IP. I mean, I guess they're doing a Coco too, and I get whatever. Daniel said if they really wanted to capitalize on it, then they should have put him in the New Day. I agree. I feel like, I mean, Ridge Holland is not that good, but we've talked about this before. Ridge Holland in the heel New Day would, not at the time, but when they turned heel last year, would have been interesting. Oh, he was the one that ended Big E's career. The only problem with that, though, it only really works if Big E eventually gets his comeuppance on Ridge Holland. He wasn't going to because he's not cleared, and he might never be cleared. I still think he'll wrestle one day, even if it's like a 6-man tag or something, in a limited role. I don't. It's not happening anytime soon. So it would have been funny from the get-go, and then it would have fizzled out. Like, you got to think long-term, too. Ridge Holland and the New Day, who gives a shit? Like, it's not like AEW or WWE has trios titles like AEW does. So how far would that really have gone? You know what I mean? But then again, you know, they put fucking Grayson Waller with the New Day, so how much different or worse would that have been compared to that? So, you're probably right. Johnny said driving in New York City is amazing. Absolutely not. No thanks. You'll never catch me driving in New York City. That would be terrible. Johnny said train, bus, and walking is beneficial. For sure, I like trains and buses, but to get from here to here to here to here, coming from Connecticut, if you're in New York City and you're taking a train or a bus or a subway, cool. But I'm also taking a fucking 2-hour train to get there. And I'm not driving in New York City. I'm sure the parking is super expensive and people are yelling at you. You got to fucking move. Got to be careful of not hitting people. No thanks. What is your favorite science fiction film? Is Back to the Future science fiction? I would need some examples. I don't know. Probably Back to the Future, right? Would that not count? Nathaniel said, yeah, and they're making Toy Story 5. I was shocked. I mean, I can't say I'm that shocked because they like making money and it makes money still, but the fourth one was even unnecessary, but I enjoyed that one. To make a fifth one, it's just fucking stupid. Will I see it? Yes, I will see it, but they shouldn't make the movie. The Empire Strikes Back is my favorite movie of all time. Well, that's a great movie. That's not even my favorite Star Wars movie, but that is a favorite movie. That is a great movie. I know that's everyone's favorite. A lot of people's favorite. That's the popular choice. For me, it's episode 3. I grew up on it. I like the movie more. I think it's a better, I think it's a better movie. Just my opinion, though. Frozen 3 is also, what a waste of fucking time. Again, they made the first one like in 2013, the second one in 2018. They're making a third one in 2026. What are we doing? Have I seen 2001 A Space Odyssey? No, I have not seen it. Heard of it, know what it is. I've never seen it, though. Johnny also said, I heard Shawn Michaels is going to make trios titles for Dark State. Yeah, they might. Or Dark Slate is what you said. I'd fucking hope not, but they already have the Speeds titles. So they have the Speed titles. They got this title. They got the Heritage Cup title. Why not? More titles for NXT. Why not, I guess? No thanks. Dune 1 or Dune 2? I actually don't really care about either movie. I've seen them both. I watched both movies. Dune 2, I think, is way better than Dune 1. Dune 1 bored me to fucking tears. I almost fell asleep watching it. It was so fucking boring and bad. I'm sorry. That movie is so overrated. Dune 2 was better. I still didn't love the movie. It was objectively a better movie. I didn't like it, though. I still didn't like it. Give me Backshot. Solomonster's back. He says, I would turn Tiffany heel before Bianca. I think a heel Tiffany versus face Bianca is a much better dynamic than vice versa. Yeah, but Tiffany only just turned recently, like within the last year, and she's still popular enough. It's not like she's getting booed. You are right. It is a better dynamic, but I would turn Bianca heel because Tiffany's already a babyface and Bianca's been a babyface fucking forever. And she was boring as a babyface before she even got hurt. So I would turn Bianca before Tiffany. Also, Ice Age 6 coming out next year. How do you feel about that? Again, who cares? I mean, Toy Story 5 will make money. Will Ice Age 6 make money? I haven't even seen the other two. I think I saw the third one. I think. I don't know. I obviously have seen the first one. The first one's great. The second one is okay. I don't think I saw the third one now that I think about it. I think I saw the second one in theaters. I definitely did not see the fourth, and I sure as fuck did not see the fifth. How are they still making this shit? I know they bought 20th Century. That's totally a Disney decision, but it's like, come on, man. Can we please move on from this? Tron, I consider sci-fi. I have not seen Tron. I've been on the ride at Disney World. I have not seen any of the Tron movies. They just don't really interest me, but yeah, I haven't seen that. Top 5 worst sequels that I've seen? Oh, God, I don't know. Number 1, I don't know if it's number 1, but up there is totally Joker 2 from last year. For how great the first one is and how fucking awful the second one is. I mean, come on, man. That's got to be up there. That's got to be up there. Joker 2, I mean, it would be hard to kind of think of other sequels that were worse. I'm sure there's plenty of sequels that I've seen that were terrible. There's so many of them. There's so many I'm even forgetting, but totally Joker 2. That's the most recent one. Have I seen the new Willy Wonka movie? Yes, I didn't like it. I mean, it was fine. I could see why people enjoyed it, but I honestly don't really like Timothée Chalamet. I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen a few things that he's in. I don't really like him as an actor. I thought the Willy Wonka movie was just dumb. The songs were fucking awful. And I think I definitely like the Johnny Depp version more than the Timothée Chalamet movie version. So I have seen it. Did not like it. Thought it was good enough. I didn't really like it, though. My favorite Western movie, Johnny asked. Does Back to the Future 3 count? I keep going Back to the Future. I keep going back to Back to the Future, but I have a movie. I used to watch a movie with my grandfather, I think called The Cowboys. I think. I actually bought it on DVD within the last few years because my grandfather died a while ago, but that movie always made me think of him. It was a John Wayne movie. Maybe that one? I don't know. Rango. Is that a Western movie? Rango is great. I enjoyed Rango. Yeah, I'd probably go Back to the Future 3. Thoughts on the Bobby Roode Fluke storyline you asked. Do you think it went on way too long? What Bobby Roode Fluke storyline? The storyline when he was a heel as a TNA World Champion in 2011? No, I don't think it went on long. I thought that was great. I thought if that's what you were talking about, Bobby Roode as a heel in 2011 was awesome. And I enjoyed his title run. He did win a lot of matches by Fluke. I thought that was, he was booked as a chicken shit heel, sure. But I overall enjoyed the storyline, and I thought he did great work during that period. That's my favorite version of Bobby Roode. Do you watch the Oscars and Emmys? Yes and no, depending on the year. I did not watch the Emmys. Didn't those just happen recently? I didn't even know they were on. The Oscars this year, I did watch at a party. I did watch the Oscars this year. A lot of the movies they nominate, I just haven't seen or don't care about, so that's really why I don't watch it. But I did watch the Oscars this year. Noob said at least we're getting X-Men 97 next year because the 90s is the past, present, and the future. X-Men 97 was a great series. I saw the original series, not when it came out, obviously, but I went back and watched the whole thing before the new series came out. And it was good. I enjoyed the original series, and then the reboot they did on Disney Plus was also great. So I'm looking forward to the next season when it comes out next year. Terminator or Terminator 2, you guys are going to fucking shit on me for this. I have not seen either Terminator movie. I've not seen any Terminator movies. I have not seen any of them. I should, because I've heard T2 is like one of the greatest movies of all time or one of the greatest sequels of all time. But I have not seen either of them. Fernando asked, did I see the movie The Wrestler? Not only have I seen it, I've seen it a fuck ton of times over the years. I own the movie. I have it right over there, actually. I love the movie. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but on Letterboxd, I have my top 25 favorite movies ever. It's on that list. It might be like 25 or 24, but it's on. I mean, I don't have them ranked by number, but if I had to make like ever, it would be between 20 and 25. I love that movie. Rewatched it a few years ago with Alexis. She had never seen it before with Mickey Rourke. Thought the movie was great. I was too young to be watching it when it came out in 2009. I was 13 at that point, turning 14 in a few months. A lot of nudity. It was definitely rated R. I watched it on a DVD player on Easter. I think I rented it. That's how far back we're going here. That's when you used to rent movies, the physical copy. And I remember watching it on my little DVD player, and like the nude scene came up. I'm like, okay, I should probably fast forward this so I don't get in trouble. But no, I love The Wrestler. I've seen it a lot over the years. Emmanuel A. said, so you're not seeing the new Tron film starring Jared Leto of Suicide Squad and Morbius fame. Exactly, Emmanuel. Again, Jared Leto's another one, even probably more so than Timothée Chalamet. I don't really like him as an actor. I thought he sucked in Suicide Squad. Morbius, he was terrible. I just don't really think he's a good actor. He fucking bores me. I'm sure there's good stuff that he's in that I've seen. I just don't remember. But no, I'm not seeing the new Tron film. I don't really care. What is this obsession with Tron that Disney has? They made the ride. The first movie came out decades ago. Is it really that much of a cult classic they're making? Like, why? I never really understood the appeal there. It's kind of cool, I guess, aesthetically. It doesn't sound interesting otherwise to me. I'm sorry. You also asked least favorite Dwayne movie. Good question. Least favorite Dwayne movie? Baywatch was a rough watch. I love, I like watching Dwayne's movies. They're not, Oscar award-winning movies. They're not going to win any awards or anything. But I liked San Andreas. It was stupid fun. I liked Central Intelligence. I thought that was fun. I think Jumanji's great. I've seen a lot of his movies. I've seen most of them. A lot of the Fast and Furious movies. Hobbs and Shaw I saw and liked. What else? I watched Red One last year. A dumb movie. I don't think it's the worst movie I've seen him in. I like Smashing Machine. I did end up watching Smashing Machine last week after hashtag. Liked it. Thought it was a very good film. Yeah, honestly, it might be Baywatch. Baywatch was fucking rough. It just wasn't funny. And I like Alexander Daddario, so I was excited to see her in that as well, and it just wasn't a very good movie. I don't know. I'd have to look at his filmography. There's definitely, I did a WrestleRant ranks movie, actually. You can actually go back and watch that movie, that video. I did a WrestleRant ranks video earlier this year with all the Dwayne movies that he's been in and rank them from best to worst and whatever, and the shit that I've seen. So go back and watch that video. I have not seen The Tooth Fairy. I did watch Game Plan. Game Plan is better than some of the other movies I mentioned. It's probably better than Baywatch. I liked Game Plan when it came out. I love Johnny Depp. Willy Wonka, I thought it was better than the recent one, Nathaniel said. Yeah, the Johnny Depp one was better, even though it was fucking weird. I think the original is still the best, not a hot take. But the Johnny Depp one, I enjoyed that one more than the recent one. That one was just stupid. What did I think of the Wonder Man trailer? Thought it was cool. Looking forward to the show. It looks like, the whole Hollywood thing. It's all about the acting industry. I feel like there's a lot of shows and movies like that, so it's kind of a tired trope in recent years. But, it should be interesting. The guy from Iron Man 3 being in it is cool. That character, actor, whatever. So, yeah, I think it comes out in January. I thought it came out in December, but I think they announced it for January. I think they announced that trailer. They played it at New York Comic Con. I almost went to that. I got approved to go, but I was just busy this weekend. It would have been a lot to go, so I didn't end up going. But I saw that they premiered it there. Have I seen Back to the Past and Back to the Present? If those are real things, then no. But I have not seen either of those movies, Johnny. Nathaniel said he watched all of the Back to the Future movies last week. For the first time or again? I'm glad you watched them, though. I have seen all 3 movies in one day before. I did that twice. I did that once in college. I don't know why. I think we had a snow day, so one weekend we just watched all fucking 3 movies at once. I don't know why we did that, but it was fun. And then I did it on New Year's Day in 2015 with my brother. Took a long time, but it was fun. And it was worth it. My favorite time travel film, Fernando. What kind of question is that? Obviously, Back to the Future. That's my favorite movie, period, let alone favorite time travel film. And even Endgame has time travel elements in it. Have I seen Beetlejuice? Again, hot take, I have not seen it. That is some of my family's, that's one of their favorite movies of all time. I have not seen it. I have not seen the sequel either. I need to make a movie watch list. What, if stuff I need to watch or for you guys to watch? For stuff that I need to watch, it depends. Like, what are we recommending here? If you're recommending Beetlejuice, then maybe I'll watch it. If you're recommending like fucking some garbage, then probably not. It depends on what it is. Depends on what it is. Favorite version of Evolution? The original. I mean, what other version of Evolution is there? The recent one from 2014? Yeah, the original version with Triple H, Batista, Rick, and Randy when they were all together, or when they were all together, all 4 of them. Johnny said, do you think James Gunn wrote too much? He wrote Superman, Peacemaker, and Captain Commando around the same time. Yeah, I mean, Superman was great. Peacemaker didn't really stick the landing. Captain Commando, I did not watch. Heard it was good, did not see it. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, honestly, he might be lying, though. He said he wrote them all at the same time. He might just be saying that because you couldn't technically write during the writer's strike. He probably wrote during that point, too. I mean, give me a break. He definitely did, but he just can't say that publicly. Nathaniel said he didn't like Black Adam. I liked it. Enjoyed it. Not a great movie at all. It was good, not great. Not shocked they're not making another one and that it bombed. I'm not surprised at all. Black Adam isn't the worst Dwayne movie I've seen, though. It was at least good, in my opinion. Better actor, Cena, Rock, or Batista? Batista by a country fucking mile, and then Cena, and then Rock. Cena's performance in Peacemaker was great. He's really improving as an actor. Rock only just now starting to do serious stuff is weird to me. Better late than never. But Batista is far and away the best actor of the 3. Not the biggest box office attraction, but the best actor of the 3 by far. Who has been my favorite character on Gen V this season? I don't know. I like Polarity, the guy with the tremors whose son died. I like him. I don't really know if I have a favorite character on the show. The girl that goes small, I like her. Kate, she's a bitch. Obviously, as intended. The kid who sees puppets I don't really like him. He's a fucking baby. So either the girl that goes small or Polarity. Have I seen Journey 2 from Dwayne? No, I have not seen it. I intentionally missed that one. I don't even think I've seen the first one with Brendan Fraser. Last time I've been to the library? What a random question, Johnny. Last time I went to the library? Last year, actually. Last year, Alexis and I went on vacation about a year ago near where I went to school. And we were on the campus for a while, and I was in the library just reading for a little while. And it was honestly some of the most relaxed I've ever been in a very long time. I was just fucking reading in the library for a while. So, I mean, I might have been in the library since then, but that's the last time that comes to mind. So, about a year ago, last November. Fernando said, where should the Asuka and Io saga go from here? Asuka and Io Sky one-on-one. I mean, that's the next logical step, right? Do it at Saturday Night's Main Event. Wow, Nathaniel said he watched all 3 movies for the first time just last week. That's crazy. How would you react to Back to the Future 4? Not very well. I think it's just, of all things being rebooted in sequels, I would watch it, but it's just not necessary, man. It's just the perfect trilogy. It might be the perfect trilogy, the most perfect trilogy of all time. Don't fucking touch it. Christopher Lloyd, and listen, they're still alive, so they could tie it into them somehow and have them be in it. I just feel like nothing will ever top the originals. Even if they did an homage to it, even if they redid them, no, just don't do it. I'd be interested, but I don't think I'd be in favor of that. You should watch all Quentin Tarantino movies in 1 week. I'm definitely not going to do that, but I've seen a few of them. I've answered this question before. I think you've asked me favorite Tarantino movies. I've seen, oh my God, I always forget the fucking name of it. Pulp Fiction. I've seen Pulp Fiction, The Django Unchained, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think those are the only Tarantino movies I've seen. But they were all good. The Django Unchained being my favorite. That movie was awesome. Johnny said, Captain America, Winter Soldier, or Dark Knight? Ooh, good question. Definitely Dark Knight. That's the better movie, but Winter Soldier is also a favorite of mine. Excellent movie. Dark Knight's better. Would you want Superman 2 or Shazam 2? Superman 2 is being made. Their Man of Tomorrow is Superman 2, if that's what you're talking about. Shazam 2, they already made a fucking Shazam 2. That is how forgettable that movie was. They came out with a Shazam 2 a few years ago, and it was not really that good. Fernando, besides the Back to the Future films, which Michael J. Fox film did you enjoy the best? I don't know if I've seen any other movies with him in it. What other movies has Michael J. Fox been in? Like, I didn't see Family Ties. That's a show anyway. Let me see. Michael J. Fox. I'm sure I've seen another movie with him in it. I watched this documentary a few years ago on Apple TV. I like that. Teen Wolf, I've not seen. Spin City, I think I've seen that. I've seen the show. I'm pretty sure I watched episodes of that show. I did not watch a show from a decade ago. Oh, Stuart Little. Is he the voice of Stuart Little? Fuck. Then you know what, Stuart Little? I love Stuart Little. Homeward Bound 2. Lost in Lost. Is he the voice of one of the dogs in that movie? I'm sure I've seen that. He's in 2014's. They made an Annie in 2014. That sounds terrible. It says he was in 2009's A Christmas Carol. I like that movie a lot, but who is he in that movie? He's voices someone in that movie? I guess that and Stuart Little, because I think both of those movies are great. Yeah, I guess he is Stuart Little. That's fucking crazy. I totally forgot about that. Anyway, let's see here. Do I think they're going to punish Lawler? Who are you talking about? Jerry Lawler? Why would they punish Jerry Lawler? If you're talking for stuff that he got in trouble with the law, that was years ago. So I don't think they're going to punish him. Is he even under contract there anymore? Movie recommendation, Birdman. Don't think I've seen that. That sounds familiar. I know Alexis and I watched for the first time. She had seen it before. Gone with the Cuckoo's Nest or whatever the fuck. I've heard of Birdman, haven't seen it. Emmanuel said, not a Tron expert, but it's considered revolutionary for being one of the earliest films to really push CGI effects. It's also the blueprint for the concept of cyberspace. Interesting. Doesn't make me want to watch it, but that's interesting. Movie recommendation, The Revenant. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I know of it. I know it's a great movie. That's when he finally won his Oscar, did Leonardo, but I have not seen it. My family has seen it. I've never seen it. I don't think Alexis has seen it either. Would I like to interview Michael J. Fox? What would be your main thing you would ask him? I don't know what the fuck I would ask him, but obviously I would love to interview him. My top number one dream interview is still Christopher Lloyd. Everyone I've ever wanted to talk to, I've been able to talk to, including James Roday and Tony Shalhoub, Monk and Psych, respectively. I don't know how I was able to do that, but I was able to interview them both. Christopher Lloyd, I mean, time's running a little short. He's obviously older now. Probably not going to happen. I would love to interview Michael J. Fox. I don't think he does interviews anymore. What I would ask him, I have no idea. But I would love to. I wonder what big plans WWE has for Lyra in 2026. Probably in the main women's title picture, if I had to take a guess, Nathaniel. Because she's done really well this year in the tag title scene and the mid-card title scene. Probably as the women's world champion. I could totally see her challenging and winning that belt next year. What movie do I wish had a sequel? Ulysses says. Good question. What movie do I wish had a sequel? You know, I say Elf because I'm shocked they never came out with Elf 2. It's too late now. But Elf 2, it probably would not have been as good as the first one. I mean, guaranteed. But I always thought Elf 2 would have been fun to do, to revisit that. I don't know what else. I'm not really sure what else I would want to see a sequel to. I'm sure there's other options. There's just nothing I can really think of right now. Have I seen Hocus Pocus 1 and 2, and would I want a third? I have seen both. The first one's a classic. It's one of my favorite Halloween movies. I watched the second one for the first time a year or two ago. It was good. I enjoyed it. I don't need a third one. I don't really want a third one. I'm glad they made a second one. They're all still around. The women are. Ulysses said, hello. Ulysses, if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. But thanks for joining, though. Great to see you in the chat. Hocus Pocus 3, don't need it. They kind of teased it at the end of the second one. It's not necessary. I don't think they're making another one. I feel like if they were, there would have been an update by now. I feel like we would have heard about it. The movie came out 3 years ago, so we would have heard about it by now. Did I ever watch Family Ties? No. Never seen Family Ties. I love where also, by the way, we're almost literally 2.5 hours in, and I have yet to answer a single scheduled question. A lot of activity in the chat. First of all, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Second of all, if you're joining now or watching after the fact, please like the video, subscribe. I can't recommend that enough. Become a member. If you become a member here on the stream, I'll shout you out and you get your name highlighted, all this other shit. If you become a member, more information than that in the comments. Support the show, support the channel. I would appreciate it. But at the very least, if you could, please like the video. It would mean a lot. Movie recommendation. You're recommending a lot of movies here, Johnny. I'm not going to watch probably any of these, but you need to take it one at a time. But he said AI, Artificial Intelligence by Steven Spielberg. Never heard of it. Saving Private Ryan, he also recommended it. I have seen that movie. I watched that in high school, I think. I think they played that in a class I was in, a history class. It's a good movie. I've also seen parts of it on TV. Good movie. Bridge of Spies, I don't know what that is. That was another recommendation, he said. Teen Wolf, he was in. Fernando said, I've never seen it. That's with Michael J. Fox. Have I seen Chicken Little from 07? Yes, that's not from 07, though. I think the movie came out in 05, I want to say. Not only have I seen it... Hold on. Not only have I fucking seen it... Oh, fuck. My shit's falling over. Alexis got this for me in 2023 for Christmas. Something I've always loved to do since I was a kid is collect movie tickets. So I put all the movie tickets that not every single one ever. Like a lot of them get lost, or I was at college and I didn't save them. Like there's a big gap in time. I worked at a movie theater. I would see a lot of movies for free, so those aren't in here, obviously. But any movie ticket I did see, I have in this book. But anyway, I bring this up because I have my Chicken Little ticket. Here it is. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Let me pull up the camera real quick. Hold on. Look at that. Chicken Little. That's how I know it's 2005, because let me back it up a little bit. November 5th, 2005. That's when I saw the movie. But yeah, the earliest ticket that I have in here is, I think, Return to Neverland. That must have been a fucking Peter Pan sequel. I don't remember seeing that in theaters at all, but I was 6 years old at the time, I think. Yeah, I turned 7 that year. It was a $5 movie, and I saw it on March 3rd, 2002. But yeah, I have tickets in here for Return to Neverland, Scooby-Doo 2, amazing movie. From 04, Shark Tale, Polar Express, SpongeBob's movie in 04, great movie. Lemony Snicket, The Series of Unfortunate Events, Are We There Yet, and Chicken Little. Those are all on the front page. Oh, it's not fucking closing now. There we go. There's a lot of movie tickets in here, though. A lot of movie tickets dating back decades. The first one comes from 23 years ago, which is insane that I still fucking have that. Let's see. Yeah, I forgot all about Stuart Little, too. Great movie, though. I think I saw Stuart Little 2 in a drive-in. I don't know if I saw it for the first time at a drive-in, but I definitely saw it in a drive-in at some point. And I think I watched the third one. I think they came out with that on fucking DVD or something. I think it sucked. But the first two were good. Ulysses asked, have I seen White Chicks? Have heard of it, never seen it. I have not watched it. Fernando said, I can't believe you've never seen T2 Judgment Day. No, I've just never seen any of the Terminator movies. I've seen the Predator movies. I've seen Predator 1, Predator 2. I saw that recently because the YouTube channel I follow is doing a breakdown of all the major ones, so I'm going back and watching the ones I haven't seen. I've seen Predator 1, Predator 2. I still need to watch Predators from 2010. I watched Predator from 2018. That sucked. I watched Prey a few years ago, last year, great movie, and I watched the animated one, Monster of All Predators, whatever the fuck it was. It came out this year. That was great too. But anyway, so my point, I bring that up because I've seen other Arnold movies. I have not seen Judgment Day. I've seen Jingle All the Way, another great movie he's in. Johnny said, let me backtrack a little bit here. Dean Cypher has been my favorite character on Gen V this season. Yeah, he's been good. He's a new, interesting character. Good character. Ulysses asked, is there any update on Jade Cargill? What update is there? I mean, she's on TV. As far as the gash in her head? No, I think she's fine, though. I don't think she's been on the show since then, but I believe she's fine. Hopefully she doesn't have to miss a whole lot of time. I think she would have been off the show anyway because they weren't really doing much with the women's title picture when they were doing Tiffany and Stephanie at Crown Jewel. So hopefully she's back soon. Nathaniel said, I wish there was Elf 2. The first one was funny. Yeah, the first one's one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time, in my opinion. Not really a hot take. A lot of people would agree, but I love the first movie. Saw that one in theaters as well. Spider-Man 2 or X-Men 2? Timely question there, Johnny. I actually have seen both movies. But I recently rewatched both movies within the last few weeks. I watched Spider-Man 2 again about a month ago, and I watched X-Men 2 last week. I would go Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is fantastic. X-Men 2 is actually, I think, better than the first one. Now that I've rewatched them, I think X-Men 2 might be better than the first movie. But Spider-Man 2, also better than the first one, I think. But I think Spider-Man 2 is better than Spider-Man 1. Which show that you liked lasted too long, and which one did not last long enough? Great question. Barry was such an amazing show. I loved Barry. They made a 4th season. It wasn't good. I did not like the 4th season. I thought it ended on a terrible fucking note. The first 3 seasons were peaks television. Just an amazing show. An amazing show. They went on too long, though. So yeah. Did not like that 4th season. Rick and Morty, I still watch Rick and Morty. I can't stop watching a certain show. I'll always finish it. Rick and Morty just is not the same anymore. I know the guy got canceled and they had to change voices and shit. That show's gone on for way too fucking long. Which show did not go on long enough? Random, but they made a MODOK show on, I think on Hulu years ago. We finally watched it a few years after the fact. It was funny as fuck, but it got canceled. And that was a bummer. So, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of other options, but those are the ones that come to mind. Trying to think of what else. Monk and Psych went on for several seasons, but that's a great show, so I didn't care that those went on for so long. Rick and Morty's gone on too long. I watched Chucky. I watched Chucky. That show was terrible. That went on 3 seasons too long, and it was a 3-season show. Yeah, those are the ones that come to mind. Let's see. What's going to do? Fernando said, is it true Jade is without a contract right now? Why would she be without a contract? I don't think so. Again, if this is something that's breaking now while we're on the air, then I don't know. I have not heard that. Why would she be without a contract? That would be, I know her, she signed 2 years ago. I don't think she signed a 2-year deal, so I don't think so. Yeah, Overtime with Graham, exactly, Fernando. Johnny said, why do you think both Phoenix movies are terrible? X-Men? What are you talking about? X-Men 3 and Dark Phoenix? Dark Phoenix was just fucking terrible. I didn't really mind X-Men 3, if that's what you're talking about. That kind of followed the Phoenix storyline. And unless you're talking about Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker movies, I don't know what you're talking about. Emmanuel said, I was about to ask you if you did scheduled questions early or if there just wasn't that many to get to, LOL. No, we have a lot of comments here in the chat, so I have not gotten to them yet. There aren't a lot of them, so I have not answered them yet. There aren't a lot of them. There's maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, so there's not a lot. There's just been so much activity in the chat, I have not answered them. And I also tend to ramble, and I've been going on with a lot of your answers. But I will get to them. I love spending time answering questions because we did not go long last week. I had to cut it short at like an hour last week. I had to leave, and we started late. Anyway, Johnny said, do you save receipts of the popcorn and food that you ordered at the movie theaters? No, I'm not that psychotic. That would serve no purpose. I'm not going to fucking save receipts. I like saving the movie tickets. I know it's basically a receipt, but it tells me what movie I saw and when, so I like it for that reason. VeggieTales, Ulysses asked? I have seen VeggieTales. I think I watched that in fucking church when I was a kid. Yes, I have seen VeggieTales. Good movie. Fernando said, what are your thoughts on Predator Badlands trailer? Looks good. I'm looking forward to watching it. Looks like it's going to be a good movie. The last couple Predator stuff, Prey and the animated movie were good. The 2018 movie was terrible, so hopefully this is good too. Your favorite Ghostbuster character? Ernie's underrated. The Black Ghostbuster, he's underrated. I like him. Also, the guy, you know what, honestly, aside from Bill Murray, who I love, my favorite character might be, I forgot his name, but the neighbor. The guy whose acting career got cut short. He's in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. What's his name? Ricky or Richie or something like that. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now, but you guys can let me know. He is fucking hilarious in that first movie. I think he's in the second one too. But I love him. So honestly, maybe him. It's crazy that Spider-Man 3 and X-Men 3 were bad. Yeah, X-Men 3 people really shit on. I think I like it more than most. I don't love the movie, but I think it's better than Spider-Man 3, which was a mess. Do you think they missed the opportunity with Trish? You asked. As far as what goes, what opportunity with Trish? With like Tiffany like beating her and stuff, or like Trish should have been a bigger star? What do you mean exactly? Fernando asked, your favorite line from Ghostbusters? The no dick line is easily the best, greatest Ghostbusters line of all time. Yeah, Rick Moranis, that's his name. That's the actor's name. Rick Moranis in Ghostbusters is amazing. Yeah, my favorite line in Ghostbusters is easily the no dick line where it goes, it's true, Mayor. It's true, Your Honor. He has no dick, or whatever the fucking line is. Amazing line. Amazing. It makes me pop every time, and I've seen the movie a million times. I miss the old USA Network shows. I agree, you. That's how I got into Raw. Like I said earlier, what got me hooked on Raw was William Regal being Raw GM, and that's why I started watching Raw week to week. But the only reason I was watching USA Network was because of my grandfather who watched it with me. I originally watched it for Walker, Texas Ranger. Now, they weren't airing first run episodes at that point. The show, ended years earlier, like a decade earlier or some shit. But I loved watching Walker, Texas Ranger on USA Network. And then I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to watch more shows on this network. I watched Monk, fell in love with Monk. Watched Psych, fell in love with that. I think I liked Psych before Monk, if I'm not mistaken. But I loved both of those shows. I watched a lot of Burn Notice. I watched Royal Pains. I tried to watch everything USA Network had to offer. Even that fucking stupid Dr. Steve-O show that he had. Like, it was a short show after Raw. I used to watch that fucking garbage, too. And then I was like, you know what? I'll try Raw. I actually started Raw in late 2007. Did not get hooked on it. Was not really enamored by Hornswoggle being the illegitimate son of Vince McMahon. I thought that was dumb as fuck. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I fell out of it, watched it for William Regal, and I've not turned back since. So it's because of USA Network that I'm a WWE fan. Johnny said, I was talking to the X-Men Phoenix movies. Okay, yeah, so you're talking X-Men 3 and Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix is way worse than X-Men 3. Dark Phoenix is like, what the fuck is even going on? They just threw that shit together. Disney already bought 20th Century Fox at that point. It's like, what is this movie even supposed to be? Doesn't really connect to anything. It's just bad. How old was I when I first saw Ghostbusters? I don't know, but probably maybe 7 or 8. I remember liking it a lot when I was in 4th grade. So I don't know if I saw it for the first time when I was in 4th grade. When I was in 4th grade, I was how was I when in 4th grade? I don't know. I'm trying to think. I was 8 or 9. So probably 7 to 9 was when I first saw Ghostbusters, and I loved it even then. I loved the idea that they could there's different ghosts that you can get. I thought that whole thing was cool. Anyway, Manuel said, I got breaking news. WWE Main Event has weekly uploads on Peacock now. May or not be breaking news. Someone told me that recently. Yeah, Main Event, so they stopped airing it on Hulu about a year ago. That's when I stopped watching it, because I'm like, if I can't fucking find it, I'm not going to watch it. And then they started putting it up on Peacock, like older episodes 2 weeks later. And then it wasn't until like January or February. I only found out about this like a month ago, that they were uploading new episodes every week on Saturdays, like first run episodes, only days later. And I'm like, well, I've been not watching it for long enough. I'm not going to go start watching it again now. I would have to catch up and shit. I'm not doing that. People don't really care about Main Event. I was only reviewing it because they never stopped watching it. But now that I've stopped watching it because it wasn't available there for a while, it's not really worth reviewing now. But yeah, someone did tell me that. That is interesting. Rick Moranis is also Dark Helmet in Spaceballs. I know. I have never seen the movie. I probably should because I love Star Wars. And I like Rick Moranis. And I think, isn't John Candy in that movie? Yeah, I should probably watch Spaceballs, especially now that they're coming out the second one. Magic Plumaire. When did Moxley start looking like Triple H? In the last couple of years when he shaved his head and grew out his beard. That is when he started looking like Triple H. Johnny said, my favorite Al Pacino line is, say hello to my little friend. Yeah, from not Goodfellas. What the fuck is it? Oh my God, what is it? I'm blanking on the name of the movies today. Not Goodfellas. What is the name of the movie? Well, I mean, I only watched it about 4 or 5 years ago for the first time. I think with Alexis. Oh my God, what's the name of it? Please, someone in the chat, let me know the name of the movie. What is that movie? Al Pacino, Say Hello to My Little Friend. I'm blanking. Breaking Bad is S tier. I've not watched Breaking Bad. Maybe one day I will. I have never seen it. Vontel asked, what do you think about cool heels or heels that don't try hard enough to get booed? You're bound to get some of those. The problem is that there's too many of them in today's wrestling. There's way too many cool heels. There's got to be more. Scarface. I thought of that before I even saw it from Renee. It's called Scarface. I don't know why the fuck it took me that long to come up with that. But yeah, there's just too many cool heels. There's got to be less of them. We need more people that get actual heat. And no, Dark State interrupting the match at Bound for Glory does not get them actual fucking heat. Yeah. So anyway, we need less cool heels, more actual heels. I agree. Magic Plumaire said, well, RJ be showing up on Thursday with another fresh fade? He might be. I saw him on Sunday for Bound for Glory. He had a fresh fade then. He might be looking fresh with another fresh fade on Thursday. You're going to have to tune in to find out. Yeah, Magic Plumaire. He also said, Graham drawing a blank on Scarface. I don't know how. We've mentioned so many movies in the last hour. You guys have asked me about like no less than 100 movies. So sometimes I blank on shit. But then I was like, okay, it's Scarface. Good. I get Godfather, Goodfellas, and Scarface mixed up. I have not seen Goodfellas, but I've seen Scarface. So it's one of Alexis's favorite movies. We watched it for the first time about, I think, 5 years ago. I think it was on Memorial Day, Columbus Day, actually, I think. I'm almost positive we watched it on Columbus Day. It's a good movie. Ulysses asked, I promise we're getting closer to the scheduled questions here. I'll go to the scheduled questions momentarily. And then we'll probably wind down from there because we've already been here for almost 3 fucking hours. Amazing. Anyway, Ulysses asked, what's the closest you've been to stop watching wrestling? I've answered this before. I was never serious about actually stop watching. But when Punk left WWE in 2014, that really fucking bothered me because he was my favorite at that point. And the product was just so bad in late 2013, early 2014. I'm like, did you even want to keep the product good? Like, I know Punk walked out, but it was just like, what do I even want to watch about the show at this point? You know what I mean? Like, why would I want to even keep watching? But I mean, the product gets better and you like other people on the show and stuff. But when Punk left, it was tough. At that point, I was already like doing a radio show about it and writing about it. And I mean, wrestling was and always will be my life. So it was too late at that point. But probably then, honestly, like there was never any point after that, even with how fucking awful the shows were in 2018, 2019. I was so deep into it, I was never not watching. But probably early 2014, because that was also around the point AJ Styles, who's my favorite in TNA at that point, left TNA. I'm like, bro, all my fucking favorites are leaving. What the fuck? But prior to that, like, there wasn't really any other point. Like, I started watching in late 07, but I don't really count that because I didn't really stick with it. I watched an episode or two here or there, didn't really interest me, and I wouldn't watch it for another 6 months. But then when I got watching in 08, I stayed hooked. TNA, I've stopped watching at certain points because I moved a couple times. I didn't have cable where I was, so I just kind of completely fell out of TNA there for about a year. I started watching TNA in 08. Fell out of it in 09 for like a year and a half. It was a long time. Then I've been watching ever since like late 2010, early 2011. How did I meet Alexis, Magic Plumaire asked? We worked together at a movie theater. That is how we met. Although I already knew her anyway because she was a customer prior to that point. And it wasn't like, oh, we knew we were going to be together at that point. We didn't. It wasn't until we started working together. She just coincidentally started working with me soon after that. But that is how we met. But she was a customer prior to that point, so I already knew of her and her family. Vontel said, I heard your comment about Bianca earlier. I think Bianca is against a heel turn because she wants to be a piece of shit heel that doesn't get cheered, but she would still get cheered anyway. LOL. That's not an excuse. I understand what you're saying. She's got to turn heel at some point. I mean, she would want to be that piece of shit heel that gets booed. Fucking Rollins. I mean, let's embrace the music and the chants and the revolutionary, the sing-along garbage. Stop. It's annoying. I think Rollins is a great heel, but when he does that shit, it's fucking terrible. Bianca, if she really tried hard to get heat, it's worth doing. I said earlier, Edge can't get heat. I feel like I said that a day ago at this point with how long the stream is. But Edge can't get heat because he's older. Like, people aren't going to want to boo the legend. People will boo Bianca. If she goes for real heat, she can be an actual heel. Magic Plumeyer, that's a random question. How tall am I? At this point, probably 5'10", 5'11". I'm not 6 feet. I could lie to you and tell you I'm 6 feet, but I post pictures all the time of me standing next to normal-sized people. Look at any picture, any interview I've done here on the channel in person and see how tall I am compared to some of the talent that I talk to. That'll give you your answer. I mean, I just gave you the answer, but if you want a physical representation, you could see it in some of the videos here on the channel. Fernando asked, who do you think will be in War Games? I'm hearing it might be FTS versus the Wyatt Six. You mean the MFTs? Brother, I can't emphasize how fucking awful that would be. Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely not. So I hope not. I've seen people say that. I don't think that's a real rumor. I think people are just bullshitting about that because it's two factions. But no, thank you. Don't even do it. Do it a Survivor Series elimination match. Don't do it in War Games. Ulysses asked, if you were a wrestler, would you prefer a real name or a fake name? My fake name, Graham Matthews, is not my real name. So I would use Graham GSM Matthews. There you go. Did you watch AJ Styles in New Japan, Johnny asked. Yes and no. I didn't. The only match that I saw of his was at Wrestle Kingdom in Did he wrestle in 2015 at Wrestle Kingdom? I'm sure he did. I watched his match on that show, and then the match with Nakamura after the fact in 2016. Beyond that, I did not follow his work there. I did watch him in Ring of Honor when he left TNA. I watched him on the Indies. I did not watch him in New Japan. It just wasn't easily accessible at the time. Fernando said, Bianca's too popular to turn heel. She is Cody for the women right now. Okay, but Cody got booed too. So, Bianca gets, but you say that, Vontel said earlier, she gets, Daniel said he's met me. He can confirm I'm 5'2". I'm not going to confirm or deny that. You're going to have to meet me to find out. Daniel's got a different story than I do. But anyway, you say that Bianca would get sheared. That's not true. Bianca's gotten booed quite a bit over the years for being over-pushed, the same way that Cody has. So if it's not like people constantly cheer Bianca. You know what I mean? Like, she's gotten booed plenty of times. It would not be as difficult as she or other people think to boo her if she went heel. Would it be a case of like, we'll boo her as a babyface but cheer her as a heel? Sure, but that happens with everyone. That should not deter them from turning her heel at some point. Okay, I think that's it for the comments right now until you guys send in some more stuff. So send in more comments. We'll end with that at the end of the scheduled questions. I will finally go to the scheduled questions now, almost 3 fucking hours in. If you want to send in a scheduled question, you can do so. Tweet me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I'll tell you at the end of the video how you can send in questions for future editions. But let's get to these questions here. Apologize for the delay if that's what you're here for. Jordan B asked from YouTube, would you have had someone else be the leader of Aces and Eights instead of Bully Ray? If so, who would you have booked to lead the Aces and Eights? No, I think Bully Ray was the perfect leader. They just got to it too long. They wanted to go like the long-term storytelling route, but they were booked like fucking losers. The group sucked. I mean, their theme song was awesome. I thought Bully Ray did a great job. That was the peak of his career. He became world champion at that point. But, I don't know. It was just not a very well-booked stable. So he was the perfect leader. I probably would have said someone else at the time. There were worries that it could be Stinger Hogan. That would have been fucking awful. They already did the shit with Immortal with them and whatever. That would have been terrible. Bully Ray was the perfect person to lead the group. Everything else about the group, having like fucking Nux in there, Mike Knox, and Gallows was fine, but like Wes Briscoe and Bischoff's son, Garrett Bischoff, it was terrible. What are the Dudley Boys Team 3D's legacy? What will their legacy be? Good question from Jordan. Probably the fact they overachieved. I mean, I can't tell you, beyond the TLC matches, many amazing matches the Dudleys have had. They've been around for a long time. They've had longevity. But like their time in ECW, it's not like they were these great wrestlers. They got over with fucking tables. They will not be remembered as fondly, in my opinion, as probably Edge and Christian, and definitely not as fondly as the Hardy Boys. They were a team, but they also could never really break away and have single success until TNA came along in like 2013 and Bully Ray finally got pushed on his own. Matt and Jeff, Edge and Christian all became world champions at various points and had single success. Team 3 did not beyond Bubba Ray during one period. But I think their legacy will be that they were overachievers. Because I don't think anyone would have thought this fat guy, Bubba Ray, and then his black brother in ECW would ever go on to become one of the top tag teams of all time and win as many tag titles as they did across multiple promotions in ECW, WWE, TNA, New Japan. So probably that. Fresh Fly from YouTube. Instead of putting John Cena in War Games, should WWE book Cena versus Braun Breaker in a match at Survivor Series? I would not be opposed to that. I like that more than Cena and Dominic, to be honest with you. And now that Breaker's turned on Rollins, I could see Braun Breaker being Cena's final opponent. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Someone else asked about that. But at Survivor Series, that'd be fun. I just don't know how you get there. Like, I don't want them to just randomly announce it. Cena's going to be on Raw before Survivor Series, so they could build it up that way somehow if they want. Braun Breaker might be fucking World Heavyweight Champion before then, so we honestly don't really know what's going on. I would rather see Cena versus Breaker and have Breaker win, obviously. If they even have Breaker retire Cena, I'd also be totally down for that too. But we'll talk about that soon. Someone else asked about Cena's retirement opponent. Freshfly also asked, is this Vision breakup ultimately a ruse similar to what Seth Rollins did earlier this year when he faked his first injury to cash in on CM Punk? No, it is not a ruse. I don't blame people for thinking that after what happened last time. You pull the wool over their eyes. Of course, they're never going to trust you again. That would just be fucking lame. If it was a ruse again, they just did that months ago. It wasn't even like it was a year or 2 or 5 years ago. They just did it at SummerSlam 2 months ago. That would be terrible. That would suck. So no, I don't think it's a ruse. I feel like they pivoted because Rollins got hurt. They're like, fuck, we got to shake shit up. This is one way to do it. It's interesting. I'll talk more about it on Thursday, but it's certainly interesting if nothing else. At Iwagu91, your thoughts on Bandito, who has a cool mask. Random thing to include there. I think Bandito is awesome. I think Bandito's been awesome. I saw him in Ring of Honor years ago, and I'm glad he's getting the spotlight now in AEW because the guy is great. He's Ring of Honor World Champion, which is cool, but I want to see him at some point get more success in AEW. I know he's won half of the tag team champions, but I want to see him as TNT champion. Like, he's an awesome luchador. The guy could do some pretty crazy, awesome shit. So, big fan of Bandito. His second question, Konosuke Takeshita has won the IWGP World Heavyweight title from Zack Sabre Jr. What are your thoughts? Big fan. Takeshita's great. Did not think he would actually win it. I thought Sabre would hold on to it since Takeshita's doing something else in AEW right now, is teaming with Okada and all this other shit. But I think it's cool. Zack Sabre Jr. is great, but Takeshita is very exciting. He deserves it. And I think it's the first time an AEW contracted wrestler is the IWGP World. Oh, that's actually not true. Jon Moxley was the IWGP champion too. I think just last year, actually, so I take that back. But no, Takeshita is great, and he's got multiple contracts, which is cool. Happy he's champion. His third question, with John Cena's retirement tour at its endgame, I read that Gunther might be his final opponent. Do you think the same? If not, who do you think should be John Cena's final opponent? There you go, the headline question for today's video. I'm going Gunther. I'm sticking with Gunther. I know that's what Meltzer reported. We've said that for months now. He retired Goldberg. He can retire Cena. He can even fucking retire AJ Styles. That's a fresh match we've never seen before, I don't think. So I'm all in on it being Gunther. But like I said a few moments ago, Braun Breaker breaking away from, or at least Rollins, not the Vision entirely, kind of shakes some shit up. I mean, they could definitely have Braun Breaker be the one to retire John Cena in December. That's totally possible. I don't think he needs to. You can do that match on Raw even. I'd prefer it at Survivor Series, Breaker at Survivor Series, then Gunther at Saturday Night's Main Event. I would put Cena in War Games. I feel like that'd be cool too. So we can mix it up with multiple people at once, like Breaker, and not just in a singles match. Maybe Breaker pins Cena, who knows? But anyway, I'm going with Gunther. Drew McIntyre was also a great option. I've said that before, but he's on SmackDown. That doesn't completely kill the possibility, but Cena's appearing on Raw going into Survivor Series. I just don't see that happening. McIntyre's feuding with Jacob Fatu, and he has unfinished business with Cody. I don't see us getting Cena and Drew, unfortunately. But Cena and Gunther, I could totally see. I think that should be Cena's final match, in my opinion. At Prince of S2 from Twitter, their question was, despite her celebrating 40 years next year, there's surprisingly a few number of wrestlers who started after Aja Kong in 1986 and went on to have equally great careers. Who would you consider among the best in that category that are either retired or confirmed to retire soon? 40 years? I mean, what, like wrestling-wise, you mean? Because, like, there's plenty of people who started after 86. I think Stone Cold started wrestling after 86. I have no idea. Like, who's been wrestling for 40 years? Probably Sting, right? Was Sting's career not 40 years? I mean, he's retired now. He's not confirmed to retire. He's already retired. Probably Sting, because Sting retired last year. I'm sure he wrestled 40 years, right? If that's the point of your question. I know you asked this, you said on Twitter, because of AJ Styles. And AJ's been wrestling 27 years, which is not 40, but that's also a long time. If you're talking about wrestlers who wrestled for that long and had all-time great careers, probably Sting. He would come to mind. He wrestled for definitely over 30 years, maybe even 40. There's plenty of other names, that he's the one that comes to mind, though. Last two questions from @millennial_noob. First one being, what are your thoughts on the recent WWE releases? I know that it's not budget related, but I think it's time to call up some NXT talent to the main roster before it's too late. I think those are two totally different things. I mean, too late for what? Like, they waited too late for Cora Jade, so that's why they released her. They released her because they did not see her having a future on the main roster. Wesley, same thing. I think it's bullshit on both fronts, specifically Wesley, who's exceptionally talented. I talked a little bit about the releases before, but Wesley shocked me and didn't shock me. He has not been in the show in months. He's not been important in over a year, so it didn't surprise me on that front. But the guy's awesome. He had a great NXT run. He's been there for long enough. They should have found something for him to do on the main roster. That is a mark on Triple H and WWE, that they could not find something for him to do, so instead they released him. Stevie Turner disappointed me because I thought she could have been a better GM full-time than Ava, who I think sucks in that role personally. But yeah, I think Stevie Turner would have been a better fit for that position, in my opinion. Everyone else, I mean, Ridge Holland, beyond the injury stuff that we talked about earlier, was not surprising. I mean, I'm shocked he was even still there. He doesn't really have a future in that company. A lot of the other people were like LFG talents, like BJ Ray. He made some buzz on LFG early on, but I've watched all of LFG. He's not that good. He's a good talker, but in the ring, he's mediocre as fuck, and he's also gotten hurt at least once or twice. They didn't see him having a future, which sucks, but that's just the way that it goes. Yeah, I mean, everyone else was, I think, just some unknown names, I'm pretty sure, but the Wesley one really disappointed me. Hopefully, I mean, I don't think he goes to TNA. They work with TNA, so, I mean, I guess he could, but I think he's talented enough to where he can go probably to, like, an AEW or something. I think he could really rip it up there. His second question and last question for today's video. Who do you think will be the teams for the Women's Survivor Series War Games match this year? For the heels, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Julia, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez. For the faces, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Stephanie, Bayley, and Lyra. That's a pretty good match, but why would Stephanie and Julia be on opposite? Like, why would Julia be in there? She has nothing to do with any of those other women. Everyone else is on Raw. So that would just be fucking random. The only people I would switch, I would take out Stephanie and Kairi. Stephanie should really defend her championship soon, maybe even on that show. So if you include her in War Games, she won't be defending that championship. I would take out Stephanie and Julia and put in Becky and AJ Lee. Now, I don't even think a women's War Games match is necessary because none of these women have anything to do with each other. They all have separate feuds going on right now. But maybe you say Stephanie because she got confronted by Raquel and Roxanne last night on Raw. Maybe that's why. But Julia being in there, again, is just fucking random. It would have to be Becky unless but why wouldn't Becky feud with AJ? Like, when are we getting the resolution or the rest of that program, the rest of that rivalry? So I would just make it a Survivor Series elimination match. I think the War Games matches should only really be reserved when there's a real issue between 4-on-4s and 5-on-5s, not just a random tag team match, you know what I mean, with women that have nothing to do with each other right now. Just my opinion, but I think your lineup is good. I would probably just switch out Stephanie for AJ Lee and Julia for Becky Lynch and just keep it Raw exclusive. The SmackDown Women's Division is fucking dire. I would not even involve them right now at all. And that's going to do it for these scheduled questions. Let me go back to the live chat here before we head on out of here. Ulysses said, what is this 6'7" shit I keep seeing? I have no fucking clue. Don't ask me. Go ask someone that's 20 years my younger. I have no idea. I'm still trying to find out too. Nothing. It was very dumb being at Bound for Glory on Sunday. And when people started to get counted out and they would go 6, like 5, 6, and then in the crowd you hear 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. I was like, oh my God, we're so fucking cooked. When we're at the point, I mean, listen, I think the thing from SpongeBob, the what's funnier than 24, 25 thing is funny. But this 6, 7 thing is out of control. It is fucking out of control. Yo, he's been Gucci. What's going on? Thanks for joining us. We wind down here. When you got rid of RJ before coming to your senses. Did you have a replacement in mind? What he's referring to is, I told this story on WrestleRant Radio a few weeks ago. I got rid of RJ in late 2014 on the show for like a month, and then I came to my senses, like he said, and he was gone for like a month, and he's been back on ever since. There were periods where he was on and off, and like he was off the show for a while, but other stuff was going on at that point. Now he's on every week, and he has been since COVID. But anyway, did I have a replacement in mind? No. What I was going to do, and if you go back and listen to those old shows, they're here on YouTube. They're also on the podcast feed. My plan was to do a different guest every week because we had guests on anyway. It would be me, RJ, and then a guest. And when I say guest, I'm not talking about someone I'm interviewing. Sometimes it would be. But most of the time it would be just a random friend or someone that we knew or someone that we knew from Twitter that wanted to come on the show. So I thought it would be easier if I got rid of RJ and just had on a guest every week, including RJ for pay-per-view predictions. And it would be like RJ would be on at least once a month. He would be a part-timer for WrestleRant Radio. But then I'm like, you know what? That's dumb. I enjoy having him on. That was bad advice. I listened to the wrong people. Let's bring him back on. And he's been on, like I said, for the most part ever since. So no, there was not a permanent replacement in mind. It was only ever going to be a cycling guests. It was going to be a guest every episode with me. Who do I think should beat Cody for the title? Nathaniel asked. Either Randy or Drew. I don't know that there's many other options. Jacob Fatu's probably not beating Cody for it. I could see Orton going heel and then winning it from Cody. Drew would be great. I think Orton and Cody doesn't need the belt. Probably will be over the belt. But anyway, yeah, probably Orton or Drew. If Gunther is Cena's last opponent, do you think he should make Cena tap? No. Cena's never really, he has not tapped in like 20 years. He should have tapped when he was a heel. He didn't. So I don't think he's going to tap now. He can make him pass out. I would be fine with that. If he makes Cena tap out or pass out, I feel like that makes more sense. I know it's like, oh, we could save Cena's real last submission for his last match. It just doesn't really make sense. He has not tapped out in like fucking 20 years because of his character, but never giving up. It would have made sense when he was a heel. It doesn't now. I wouldn't do it. If he does it, what a hell of a nod for Gunther. And I think he should win regardless. But at most, I would probably have him just pass out. Who beats Dom for the title, the IC title? I hope it's not Cena. I feel like that'd be stupid. Penta, I'd be cool with. He lost last night. Rusev's already lost. He's getting another shot next week. Is Rusev going to get another fucking shot and then lose again? I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? It might be Rusev. I could see Rusev maybe taking the title. Ideally, Ilya Dragunov, but he's not even on the show right now, so how can I even say him? Finn Balor would be an option too because they're teasing tension with them, but for Finn to get a title shot and then to turn heel, that's probably not for another few months down the road. I would not wait that long. So I don't think it should be Finn. I would go with Dragunov or Rusev at this point. AJ would have been cool too, but he's already gotten like fucking 2 or 3 title shots. It's not happening. Nathaniel said, as long as Cena doesn't beat Braun, I'm good. Yeah, that would be dumb. Ulysses asked, is Seth Rollins going to have to relinquish? I would think so. I mean, if he can't fucking wrestle, then how can they get the belt off of him? I mean, they would have to relinquish it. If he's injured, then they're not going to do a match. Unless it's just an angle where Punk pins him immediately. That would just be, I don't know. I feel like after he got beat down on Monday, we're not going to see him for a while. And he's going to come back and defend the title and then completely forget about being betrayed by the Vision. It would just be dumb. So he'll probably have to relinquish, but Punk's the number 1 contender, so we'll find out soon. Yoey Spangucci asked, do you consider yourself approachable? Interesting question. I think so, but I think I also give out vibes sometimes that I'm not approachable. I like to be unapproachable when I'm in New York City and people are fucking, and it's not even like, oh, a homeless person asking for money. I'm not talking about that. Like, there's a lot of rude ass people in New York City that are like trying to give you discs and try to have you buy something and all this other shit. And then they're just like annoying you. When they ask you once and you don't answer, fine, whatever. But there's people that will just keep hammering you. Like, oh my God. I try to come off as unapproachable as possible when I'm in New York City specifically. But then it ruins it for nice people who have actual questions or need to say something to you or whatever. But otherwise, I like to consider myself approachable. I might look like I'm unapproachable sometimes. I just have a resting asshole face, I guess. I don't know. Resting bitch face. I've been told that before. I get it. I like to think I'm approachable. Because I would like to approach other people if I have a question. So if I want them to be approachable, I should probably be approachable too. I think once I interact with someone, I think it becomes clear I'm approachable and I'm not a fucking dick. I've approached a lot of people with questions or comments or whatever, and they're fucking dicks. Somehow that has not deterred me from being approachable myself. Nathaniel said, I don't think we need Dom versus Cena for the IC title at Survivor Series. I would rather see Cena versus Breaker or him in War Games. I completely agree. Ulysses asked, how do you think Karma's WWE run, I think is what you meant to say, would have gone? I think she would have done well. She was so different than everyone else. I don't know how long she would have lasted, but like she was so different. They pushed her out of the gate. She attacked Michelle McCool the night she retired. She probably would have won the Divas title and been a real wrecker in that division for a while, but at the end of the day, they did not take women's wrestling seriously for another few years. She probably would not have been there long, but I guarantee you she would have been champion, and she would have been a real dominant force in that division there for a while. And that would have been great to see. But unfortunately, the whole thing happened with her that it did, and it didn't really work out, unfortunately. Yoey Spingucci said, feels like wrestlers never actually retire unless they're legit 6 feet under. What does that have to do with anything? Johnny said 5 NXT wrestlers you would put in an Ultimate X match. 5 NXT wrestlers I would put in an Ultimate X match. Javon Evans. Who the fuck else do they even have in NXT? Tony D'Angelo, he's not there, is he? I don't even know who they have in NXT at this point. So, Miles Bourne, maybe. He's not really an X Division guy. Alexis King. We're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here. I don't know. Who's the North American champion right now? Legitimately, like, who's the North American champion? I don't even remember. Not Ricky Saints. I'm trying to think who was the North American champion right now. I don't remember. Wesley lost it, or Oba won it, lost it to Tony. Who did Tony lose it to? I don't remember. I have no fucking idea. Josh Briggs or something? I have no idea. I'm trying to remember and I just can't. Ava is the best GM of all time. Johnny, get out of here with that nonsense. She's terrible. Do you think AEW ended Black and Gold? I mean, not intentionally. Black and Gold, I mean, you could argue it died in like 2018, 2019. But yeah, AEW really kind of killed any momentum NXT had because it was the new cool thing starting in 2019. So yeah, it did play a pretty significant factor in ending Black and Gold. Really, the final nail in the coffin of Black and Gold was Vince McMahon in NXT 2.0. They just fucking killed it in 2021. But the beginning of the end was in 2019. Ulysses asked, do you think Heyman, I think he said Hangman, Heyman turning on Seth is setting up a Seth Roman reunion? No, and I don't think it should. Why the fuck would Roman trust this guy? And Seth fucking hates Roman Reigns. So maybe down the road, but no time soon. I would not do that anytime soon. I think that would just be ridiculous anytime soon. Nathaniel said, would you put Becky, Lyra, Bayley, AJ Lee at War Games? Yeah. And Bayley and Lyra, Becky. Oh, what? I mean, not on the same team. I would not put AJ and Becky on the same team. I would put them in War Games, though, like I said earlier. Johnny said, based on Darby's comments yesterday, Darby going to face Andrade in an exploding / electrified barbed wire flaming tables match. Yeah. Mario's, which wrestler do you think is washed? Good question. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely wrestlers that are fucking washed. Goldberg was washed before he retired. Big Show's washed, but he doesn't really wrestle right now. Not AJ Styles. People said that about AJ a few years ago, which was just mind-boggling to me. I would have said Cena was washed, but he's been putting in amazing works in SummerSlam for the most part, so I can't really say him. Not Rey Mysterio. He can still go. Not Sheamus. I feel like I said someone was washed recently. I don't remember who it was, though. Was it an AEW or WWE? I have no idea. I'm looking at WWE's roster right now. I mean, Brock Lesnar, you know what? Brock Lesnar's kind of fucking washed. He's older. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't do anything in his matches. Shinsuke Nakamura is also pretty washed, but then again, he had a great match with Shinsuke or Sammy on SmackDown last week, so I can't even really say that about Nakamura at this point either. I would probably say Nakamura and Brock. More so Brock, because Brock just doesn't give a shit. He could probably have a better match if he wanted to. He just chooses not to. Is Cody stale? In my opinion, no, but I could see why people would think that. Do I look at other people's top movies on Letterboxd, Johnny asked? I do. Not often, but sometimes I will look at people's top movies. Usually I'll just see what other people rated the movies that I'm rating just to see how it matches up. Grunt would say Randy as well. Have I seen Dark Phoenix, and do you think there was a sequel? The 2019 movie, no, that movie was terrible. I said that earlier. The movie sucked. I'm glad there was not a sequel because that movie was just completely ass water at that point. I'm glad they killed the X-Men universe in 2019 and kind of rebooted it because it was getting real bad. Do I want to see a season 2 of The Defenders? No. I mean, the first season came out years ago. We're just in a different place with those characters now, some of which haven't even been introduced in the MCU. So no. I liked the first season, watched it this year finally, thought it was good. Don't need a second season. It was good for what it was. Would I want to see Punk beat Cody? I'd be okay with that. At Mania, maybe? I'd be totally fine with that. Marios asked, why do people think Shawn Michaels will take over for Hunter one day when he's older than Triple H? LOL. I don't know who the fuck is saying that. I have not seen anyone say that. I don't know why anyone would think that for the exact reason that you're saying. He's older than Triple H. If anything, someone will take over for Shawn Michaels in NXT. Shawn's not taking over for Triple H. It'll have to be someone younger than that. Ulysses asked, Roman held the belt and didn't defend it for months. Why should Seth have to relinquish? I agree, but they don't know how long Seth is going to be out for. I agree. It depends how long he's out for, and also they just wanted to shake shit up. If Seth was hurt and he wouldn't be able to defend it until January, then yeah, I mean, honestly, realistically speaking, you're not wrong. But they can't build Raw just around Reed and Breaker without a world champion around. They just can't. It's just not interesting. And when Roman wasn't around as champion, when he was doing his part-time thing and he was champion, again, SmackDown suffered. It was not fucking interesting. And they had to rely on Jimmy and Jay to carry the show for a while. It's like, no, it's not interesting. So anyway, I think they just wanted to take the belt off of Rollins, or rather have them turn on Rollins to really shake shit up. They were always going to that point anyway. Let's just do it sooner than expected. I'll have more thoughts on it on Thursday. Daniel said, I have also been told I have a resting bitch face. Hey, you and I both. Johnny said, people in Connecticut were rude and violent to me when I was there. Was I one of them, Johnny? I know I keep shitting on New York. I know you're from New York, but that's just my experience. I just do not like being in New York. I will shit on New York every chance I get. A lot of fun stuff to do in New York. I've been in New York a million times, seen a lot of shows there, done a lot of cool shit. I don't like the people of New York. I'm sorry. They're just very fucking rude most of the time. Miserable folks. Ulysses asked, or said, Karma versus Beth Wood and Cooked. That's the match I wanted. I was fucking hoping we were going to get Karma and Beth for the Divas title at WrestleMania 28. And Beth was in a fucking random tag instead. And then Karma ended up leaving. So, yeah, I was looking forward to that. Beth Phoenix versus Jean Grey would have been a great comic battle. Battle of the Phoenixes for sure. How do you feel about the excuse regarding not pushing younger talent that since they're young, they will still have time? Ulysses asked. I agree with everyone else. I think that's bullshit. Push younger people now. I mean, I'm glad older people are getting their spotlight, like LA Knight, Damian Priest. Finally, they're in the main events. But that's no excuse to not have people like Breaker, and Reed's not that young, but like Javon Evans. You can keep him in NXT for another few months. He should not be in NXT in 2 years. Put him up now. Obafemi, same thing. Put him up now. I mean, they should not be waiting until they're 38 to win their first world fucking title. They made that mistake with Cody. Cody's great. It's not really a mistake with Cody. Cody should have been in the spot a decade ago. I said earlier, it worked out well with him. But he should have been in the spot a very fucking long time ago. Emmanuel said Ethan Page, as did Daniel, talking about, people in NXT. He's the North American champion. I'm so fucking dumb. He's doing a great job as North American champion. I don't know how I forgot about that. Ulysses said, do you think Cody is a carny? It's hard to believe sometimes in interviews. Cody can be a carny. I enjoy Cody's interviews, but he acts a bit carny sometimes. He also said, Cena putting on bangers post SummerSlam makes me believe he was phoning it in with washed performances. Yeah, he was phoning it in for fucking 5 years. It's kind of crazy. He's only waiting until now to really go all out, which is kind of disappointing. Better late than never, I guess. Grunt said, not you, but RJ said Nakamura is washed. He kind of is, though, to be honest with you. Like, he's not going back to New Japan when his contract expires and winning the world fucking title. If he does, that is sad on New Japan's part. But Nakamura, I think it's a Cena thing, where if Nakamura really wanted to, he can go in there and have a great match. He's not had many great matches in the last 5 years. He really just doesn't care. I think it's a Cena thing where he just doesn't give a fuck because he knows he can get away with a certain amount of things. Fernando said Jericho is washed. Jericho is definitely washed. He can go in there and have a great match once in a while, but by and large, he's fucking washed, especially as a character. Him thinking the learning tree shit was a good idea just convinces me he was washed. He is washed. But I think him coming to WWE one last time makes sense. He can get away with doing some nostalgia shit, short and sweet run, and then we move on. Will you do a tier video on John Cena's last year in December? It depends on what the video is, but maybe. It depends on what the tier list would be or whatever, but like how I would have booked it better. I mean, that's not really a tier list, but maybe. We'll do an overall review of Cena's final year when it comes to December. Origin on WrestleRant Radio. We'll do an overall assessment of his final year. A tier video, I don't know. Maybe of his final matches. Yeah, that could work. I'm going to watch my Boston Celtics tomorrow, Nathaniel says. Well, enjoy. Emmanuel says, Cody's a carny in quotation marks. Bryan Danielson did say Cody taught him how to lie. I did see that. I saw him say that. I agree on Jericho. Grunt says, let him have one more nostalgia run in WWE and then call it a career before he does any more damage to his legacy. I agree with everything you just said. Fernando said, we should have a watch-along of a terrible wrestling show and just make fun of it the entire time. I don't hate that idea. That's actually a pretty good idea. One of these days we can do that. Nathaniel said, who does Roman Reigns face at WrestleMania? It won't be The Rock. It might be Braun Breaker for the World Championship, maybe. I was thinking Roman and Seth, but it looks like we're not getting that at this point. Roman and Braun, I could see. Roman and Braun Breaker, I could totally see. Johnny said, remember when Brock was hardly there when he was champion? I remember, unfortunately. Johnny said, you're a nice Connecticut person, unlike other people. Well, thank you. Let's see. Nathaniel said, I would have Obafemi beat Sammy. Me too. I would not do it now. I would wait a little bit longer, but at some point, yes. Grunt said, God, Universal Champ Brock was truly dark times for Raw. It was. Late 2015 Raw was fucking tough. Whenever he was fucking champion. I think it was 2014. It was, what a waste of time. And they were relying on like the Bella Twins to carry the show with their feuding storyline, man. You think Raw is bad now? Go back 10 years. Give me a break. It was awful back then. What do you think about wrestlers having the same name? Doesn't bother me. That's a Vince McMahon issue. Like, oh, we have two Adams. We can't have two Adams on our show. Who cares? If you have 1,000 Adams, then sure. But if you have two Adams or 2 to 4 Adams, who cares? I think people are smart enough to know the difference, and they don't look alike, and I think it's okay. People won't get that confused, and they won't think they're fucking related, unless it's established on TV that they are. Hangman and Heyman would be a great duo, the man duo. I don't agree. I don't think Hangman would need Heyman as a manager. I don't agree with that. Hangman's great on his own. Do I like the pair of Zelina and Aleister Black for Nano West? I do. That surprised me they did that on SmackDown. I think that's very cool. I like that they did that on SmackDown. It's a great way to utilize Zelina. She's already been the singles champion. She's been with the LWO as a manager. Put her with Aleister. I know they've been pushing for it, so why not try it? Would I want to see Stone Cold and Punk? Ulysses asked. At this point, probably not. I mean, it's fucking 2025. 10 years ago, yes, but in 2025, if Stone Cold comes back for one more match, I would be excited just for the promos, but the match, I don't know, man. They would even probably tell you it's too late, so Stone Cold would need another, like, angle type of match like he had with LA Knight. Like a full-on actual match, I don't think would work. What do I think about Rock's Cena's comments? I don't want him to be Cena's last opponent. I know he, like, entertained the idea. He goes, oh, I have some influence in the booking. No thanks. That'd be terrible. That'd be fucking stupid. So no. But if that's what you're talking about. Johnny said, I know we've been here for over 3 hours, but you guys had a lot of great comments and questions, a lot of activity here in the chat. We will wind down soon just because I have to go fucking eat. I'm starving. Anyway, Johnny said, who's taking more advantage of a second company, NXT over TNA and AEW over New Japan? Who's taking more advantage? NXT with TNA, they're winning all their fucking titles. AEW doesn't take all of New Japan's titles. I know an AEW talent is a New Japan champion, but it's probably for the better because New Japan has no buzz right now. I mean, AEW did kind of take advantage of New Japan by stealing a lot of their talent, but that was the talent's decision. I mean, they wanted to fucking leave because they saw no future for themselves in New Japan. I would still probably go NXT over TNA right now. I mean, I think both partnerships are great. But who's taking more advantage, quote unquote? Probably NXT over TNA. That finish to Javon Evans and Leon Slater sucked. And reportedly that was WWE's call, or at least they had a lot of influence in that. How many years do I guess Randy Orton has left? Fernando asked. 5. I know he said a few years ago, like 10. I don't know if he's going to be over 10 years. I mean, I wouldn't complain, probably. But I'll say maybe 5 more years, minimum. Heroes of Wrestling stream, let's go, Grunt said. I don't know what that is. We might have to watch it. If it's that bad, if you're claiming it's terrible, we might have to. Ulysses said, do you think it's weird that Danielson always says he and The Miz hate each other, but Miz has never spoken ill of Bryan? I think that might be just a work thing. I don't think Danielson actually hates Miz. He probably isn't friends with him. He probably thinks he's a fucking dick. I don't think he hates Miz. I don't think Miz hates Danielson either. I think a lot of it is just work shit. Like, they're trying to work people to think they were never actually friends. I feel like he respects Miz and vice versa. Emmanuel says, I heard Nakamura has always had a tendency to phone it in, and most fans never noticed it in New Japan because most fans don't watch the smaller New Japan shows. Yeah, it might have been the case then. I don't watch the shows. I didn't watch the shows back then, and I don't now, so I wouldn't know. But Nakamura's probably has always phoned it in, like you said, especially in WWE. He had that one great match with Sammy 10 years ago, and he's like, great, I can phone it in from here. Do I think Sammy is IC champion until Mania? U.S. champion, you mean? No, he'll probably lose it before then, especially if he's defending the belt almost every week. Battle of the Kyles, Grunt said. Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly and Kyle Fletcher. They did have some great matches, I will say that, including last week. Freak like Najit. Are they going to butcher Bronson's momentum by pinning Roman? Or after he pinned Roman? Will they? Probably yes. I hate to be negative, but they probably will butcher his momentum. Let's just be honest here. I hope they don't. Pinning Roman's a big feat. Only one other person has done it this decade has pinned Roman one-on-one, that being Cody at Mania last year. Fucking take advantage of it. Now that Rollins is in the picture, it increases the chances they might actually do something with it, to be fair. Fernando, should the Hardy Boys get a huge retirement tour in WWE? Yes. How a John Cena retirement tour? I don't think anyone will ever get that treatment, honestly, ever again. But will they get a retirement tour, like a last run in WWE? Almost positive, yes. Or unless something cuts their career short before them. But even now, they're appearing in NXT as the fucking tag team champions. Is Zelina a heel now? I would think so, Nathaniel, yes. Grunt said, watch WWE book Punk versus Austin for the Saudi Mania. Honestly, you say that, but I could see them doing it. And Punk, for as anti-Saudi as he has been in the past, or anti-government, or whatever the fuck he said in the past, he'll be the first one to collect that paycheck and main event that show with Austin. That would be hilarious. I would like to see it, but that would be hilarious. Would I want to see Damian Priest and Lola Vice versus Aleister Black and Zelina? Not really. I know Damian and Lola are dating in real life, but they've only been dating for a few months. They're not even really public all that much about it. I mean, they are, but not really. Lola, I'm just not the biggest Lola Vice fan. I think she's good. You're not pairing her with Damian long term. I mean, I guess. Why not? Whatever. They can. Cool. I don't know. I don't really care. I like Zelina being with Aleister. They're married. I mean, it makes sense. What if Lola and Damian break up? You know what? I don't know. It's kind of weird. But sure, why not? Freak said, why are we back to the Usos being Roman's lackeys and letting them walk all over them? I don't know. I feel like we're back in fucking 2020, 2021. I mean, it's semi-interesting. It's different than what they were doing before, but let's not go in circles with the Bloodline Saga, please. Been there, done that. Did I like the Miz versus Bryan rivalry, Nathaniel asked. Yes, not only did I like their feud, I fucking love their feud. The second pay-per-view, I ever bought, Night of Champions 2010, was largely to watch Miz and Daniel Bryan for the United States Championship. Loved the match. Still one of my favorite matches / shows. And a couple weeks later, I think it was a week or two later, Bryan was at an indie show. It was his last indie day because he got fired that year from WWE. Excuse me. But he booked a bunch of indie dates that summer into the fall before he returned to WWE. They let him finish out his dates. So he was at a Northeast Wrestling show I was at as the fucking United States champion. I think he had the belt in the picture that we took. I don't remember. I think it was in his bag or something. We took a picture, and I don't think it's in the picture. But he had the fucking U.S. belt with him, which was awesome. And, yeah, I thought that made me a fan of Daniel Bryan when he was feuding with The Miz. I did not watch him in Ring of Honor, so I can't speak to that. But that feud with Miz made me a Daniel Bryan fan. So, yes, I love their feud. Fernando said, is AEW going too far with Shock TV like Darby Allin trying to attack Moxley with a cocktail bomb? They've been doing that shit for years. It's not that surprising. I'm just numb to it at this point. Freak said, when do you think WWE officially soured on Nakamura? In 2017. It wasn't Nakamura's fault either. I mean, they had Jinder go over him twice. And in 2018, when they turned him heel, he officially soured on him at that point. I mean, he did win the Rumble in 2018, so they weren't officially down on him at that point. They just never had him win the title. Maybe it was like Vince thinking he couldn't speak English well or something. I don't know. Then you put him with a fucking manager. I don't know. But I feel like they officially gave up on Nakamura as a main eventer in 2018. He did main event pay-per-views after that with Rollins a few years ago. And those matches were good. But they didn't put the belt on him then either. I would turn Harley Cameron heel. I would not. I mean, she was already a heel. She's only been a babyface for a few months. That babyface support that she has is like the only thing she has left. I mean, she's organically over because people like her. I don't really care about Harley Cameron, but people do. People think she's funny. I don't, but that's fine. I would not turn her heel. At least not yet. Johnny said, Bronson Reed got wins over Okada and Roman Reigns. Yes, and Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. He has pinned all four of those individuals. Not many people can say that. Have I seen Invincible, Johnny asked. Yes, think the show's great. I did not love the latest season. I don't remember, but I remember it being good when I watched it earlier this year. Nathaniel said, Roman said he doesn't want to see Usos until Christmas. That's a long time. I feel like you'll see them before then. I feel like they'll all be in War Games. How do I feel about Tommy Tonga being back? Ulysses asked. Cool. I like Tommy Tonga. I don't hate the MFTs as much as most people. They're not exactly fucking exciting. But, yeah, I mean, I like the fact that Tommy Tonga's back. I like Tommy Tonga. Fernando, should Okada and Takeshita win the tag titles before they turn on each other? Why not? I mean, I would keep the belts on Brodito. They're good. They're not a real team, but neither are Okada and Takeshita. I wouldn't fucking complain if they did, so why not? Ulysses asked, already feels like 3 years ago that Jay was world champion. It's been a long year, my friend. It feels like it's 3 years ago since we started this stream. That's how long it's been. It might be the longest one we've ever fucking done. Nathaniel said, did you feel bad Batista didn't beat Randy for the title at WrestleMania 30 after winning the Rumble? No, because Batista should not have beaten Randy for the title to begin with. I do feel bad Batista never got a title run that year, but I don't feel bad. They misjudged the whole situation. He should have never won the Rumble, at least not when Daniel Bryan was the top guy in the company. If there was no one hot at that point, then sure, people probably would have lapped it up. But even Batista and Orton in Mania sounded fucking terrible. Even if Daniel Bryan wasn't over at that point, as much as he was, that still would have sucked. Batista and Randy would have sucked. They needed Bryan in that picture. Has Kevin Owens had surgery yet? I don't think so, Ulysses. I could be wrong about that. Did I see Don Callis' birthday celebration video? Shame about the other 39. I don't know what you're talking about. I have not seen that. Fernando said, do you think Tony is booking Eddie Kingston right since coming back? Not really, no. I mean, he's feuding with LFI. Why? He's pulling collision duty. Why? I mean, Eddie's real strengths are on the mic. He's not really speaking much at all. He's not cutting in-ring promo. He's doing a quick backstage promo. That's about it. Yeah, no, I feel like you could be doing more with Eddie Kingston. The return itself was bad enough at All Out. The follow-up has not been much better. Freak said the members weren't there. Oh, what? They had a birthday celebration for Don Callis and the other 39 members weren't there? Yeah, they're only going to add more people, I'm sure. I'm a part of the Don Callis family, too. I'm a member of the Don Callis family. I think you are, and everyone else is here as well. It would only make sense with how many people they already have in the fucking group. All right, guys, it's been long enough. I got to get going. Like I said, I'm fucking hungry. We've been here for 3.5 hours. I love it, though. You guys are amazing. A lot of great chats, a lot of great questions. Thank you so much for joining us. I think Kevin Owens will wrestle again, Nathaniel. We'll see. I think he will. I could be wrong, though. I thought Big E might wrestle again. I still think he might. I don't think Kevin Owens' injury is as bad as his, but hopefully we see him back in the ring at some point down the road. Will be no time soon, though. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, folks, last couple things here before we get going. I'll look back at the chat one more time before we end in just a minute. But shout out to the channel members: Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, DJ Swerve1 at Swerve1 on IG, Daniel Malcolm at I'm Quarter on X, RJ Marceau at RJ_Marceau on X as well, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland right here on YouTube. He was here a little bit earlier on, as was Richie. Find him on YouTube as well. Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, and Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social. On Blue Sky. More information on how to become a channel member down below. $5 a month. Get your shout outs at the beginning and end of every single live stream that we do here on the channel. To get early and ad-free access to certain videos, badges and emojis in the live chats, top billing on hashtag AskGSM and WrestleRant Radio if you have a question sent in ahead of time, and so much more. More information on that down below. You can send in a question to the show to be answered on next week's episode by tweeting me on Twitter at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video after we're done being live here in a second. And I'll include your question in next week's edition. Last few things here. Be sure to like this video. At the very least, if you want to support the show, support the channel, please like the video. It means a lot. Helps a lot as well. And subscribe. Hit that notification bell to be notified every single time you upload new content and every single time we go live here on the channel. And the next time that should be on Thursday. Myself and Mr. Marceau, as I said at the start of the show, we should be breaking down Crown Jewel, Bound for Glory. We were there on Sunday, so we'll give our on-set report from the pay-per-view. We will give Wrestle Dream predictions for this weekend, talk about the latest round of releases, and we will also be talking the big pivot from Monday's Raw, Seth Rollins being ousted from his own faction. A lot of thoughts on that and so much more coming up on Thursday's WrestleRant Radio. Also, coming up, Halloween season right now, we have t-shirts available, WrestleRant t-shirts. We have a regular WrestleRant t-shirt, we have a Halloween WrestleRant t-shirt, and Christmas. Check those out. Pro Wrestling Tees has deals and codes that you can use all the time for like 25% off or whatever the fuck. Maybe if it's even 10% off, whatever it is. Check out ProWrestlingTees.com/WrestleRant. More information on that down below in the description box. Buy a t-shirt. Let me know that you bought a shirt. We'll shout you out here on the show. If you become a member, same thing. I'll shout you out. I'll share the picture on socials, whatever it might be. Check out our t-shirt selection over at ProWrestlingTees.com/WrestleRant, specifically the Halloween shirt that was designed by the one and only Alexis. So that's going to do it, guys. Again, thank you so much for joining. Always a great time. Tom, thanks for chiming in here as we wind down. He said, what's up? Doing well, Tom. Same with you as well. Thanks for chatting here as we wind down. Fernando said, will Cena stay retired or come back for a one-off? I think he stays retired. I think he stays true to his word like Batista does. The only one-off would be like a fucking Rumble return. Even that. I mean, he's already 50. I mean, he's going to come back in 10 years. He could. Probably not. Probably not. I'm going to say no. But everyone does. So it's hard to believe him at his word and take him for his word. And Johnny said, go enjoy that New Haven pizza. Oh, I will. I always do. It's always excellent. All right, guys. Again, like I said, thank you so much to everyone that joined us live here today. Very successful stream. Thank you for all the chats and the comments and the questions. This has been a whole lot of fun. You guys are fantastic. If you enjoyed this, check out the other content of the channel and come by on Thursday for WrestleRant Radio time, TBD around noon, though, on Thursdays, East Coast time, with myself and Mr. Marceau breaking down all the latest in the world of wrestling. Have a fantastic Tuesday, folks. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.